You having fun over there, Zeke? Good evening, Club Cult. Well, welcome. What error is occurring? Oh, computer. What's your beef, broccoli? Don't give me good grief, Charlie Brown. It's unnecessary conduct. Oh my god, everything, computer, calm down. It's been on multiple times a day. I think it's like how Instagram shows you certain accounts like on your feed at certain times of day, like based on what you view the most when you're scrolling at certain times of day. Like I have a different feed in the morning than at night, and the one at night like really sucks me in because that's when I get sucked in. Good evening, Midnight Dynamite. I feel like the computer is the same way. It's like, okay, she's gonna be on for a good chunk of time at this point in time. So during the day, we won't do anything to fuck with her. But as soon as she's present, so it all either comes together or falls apart, depending on the perspective. Serena spam incoming. I will pull us out of purgatory. Welcome to Stream the Dreams Project. I feel like I have very basic conspiracy theories, but like they track. But everyone feels that way about their conspiracy theories. It's why you're so self-righteous with them. We are now free to move about the chat room. Hold from purgatory. Pop everything over on the purple side. We're gonna bebop around with the zoo. Bless you, Zeke. Bless your heart and soul. He is so going wild right now. He's having the time of his life. You did pull up fast. I heard skirp. You must have been right down the street. It's Father's Day. I must make dad jokes. Did that qualify as a dad joke? Possibly. Good old Discord. I believe I have a welcome to do. No, not me. Discord. Computer, why are you such a butthead tonight? Golly. Golly gee willikers, Batman. There we go. Welcome, Nebula. You bebs hop to the Discord. Please do not forget to green check them their rules. So I can reel you in offline. It's not magical, it's not botted, it doesn't just scoot you right in. I press the buttons. I press the buttons. Midnight, you are not in Discord, so you haven't seen my little gopher friend, except for maybe when I've like just put my phone up on stream. Gopher, beaver, woodchuck, I don't know what he is. Look at this little fucker. He comes by around, what time was this on there? 9:24, usually around like 10 a.m. He just does his own little thing in life. Then he went to the cat house this time, because the cat house is right in the corner there. He's such a weird little cutie. But, like, I feel like he really wants to come inside, but, like, sir, I cannot own you. I can't tell with his tail, though. Does his tail look fluffy? Or does it look flat? It's either a beaver. I don't think he's a badger. Or a woodchuck. But, like, why the fuck would there be beavers in my neighborhood? A woodchuck is more likely, but, like, still unlikely. This is one of my street friends, too. This is RNG. He got pretty close the other day. Him and Ringo hang out in the backyard sometimes. Ringo gets really excited and stands like 10 feet away from him and then decides that like he's trying to play, so he like bounces and like rears up and doesn't get any closer. And RNG just lays there and looks at him like, you fucking ding dong. It might be both. He's a hybrid. I know you don't do the Discord. Oh my god, I can't say Discord and Dicksword symbiotically. It comes out as a completely different word. That's hilarious. I try to come up with like the most basic names for the street cats so I don't fall in love with them, but like obviously I do anyway. Oh, there's RNG, there's Bear / Jimbo, because I call him Bear, but my neighbor calls him Jimbo. There's Almost Gunther, formerly known as, currently Guy Fieri, so he got a name. And Naked Butt, because this cat has like a flea allergy or something and has like no hair around its tail area. He's got a naked butt. Welcome, Cyogenics. Hope you're having a good day so far. Happy Father's Day, current and future doggy and cat daddies. You wonderful human beings. Happy Papa's Day. Naked Butt is the worst name to call a street cat. Well, do you have a better name for a cat who has a naked butt? Do we just call him Baboon? Sir Baboon? Sir Baboonicus the Third? Oh my goodness. I came up with a middle name for Zeke the other night, and I'm trying to think of what it was. Ezekiel Constantine. His middle name is going to be Constantine. It flows. It just popped into my head when I was trying to fall asleep one night. I was looking at him like, what is a good middle name for you? What goes with Ezekiel? Ezekiel Constantine. He's like super religious or something. I don't know. Oddly does, despite the syllables. Fur impaired. No, then I'm like calling them defective versus descriptive. Fur impaired is defective. Naked butt is descriptive. Zeke is behind the curtains and I think he's stuck. Give me 1 second. Oh no, he's just digging at the curtains. Okay, he got himself stuck behind the curtains on the other side earlier, like right before I was starting the stream. I don't think I could guess your middle name in a million years. I'm not good at guessing middle names. Not in the slightest. My middle name is weird because I'm somewhat named after my dad in that way, but in like a feminine version of the name, and it's weird. It's odd. I'm okay with my middle name now, but I was like offended by it as a kid. Like when the neighbor kids made fun of me, they called me by my middle name because I was so like about it. I didn't even realize today was the grand final. I could have moved faster this morning and streamed it. I want to watch the highlights when we come back from the zoo tour. Why is that doing that? I don't know, computer. A lot of girls are like that with their middle names. I've never known any other girls that are like that with their middle names. My step-cousin's middle name is Louise, and she hates it. Louise is so pretty, though. It's a classic name. It's very beautiful. My favorite old school name is Edith. I think Edith is so pretty. I don't plan on ever spawning a creature, but if, like, Jesus magically impregnated me and I had a female child, I would name her Edith. I would call her Edith. I like that name. I didn't charge this. I don't know how much battery is in here. I had to scoot all that out of the way. Oh, it's 3 out of 4. We're good. We're good to go. Edith makes you think of Edith Bunker. I don't know who Edith Bunker is. What is this? Like Archie Bunker? Oh, okay. I just, apparently I'm sexist. I never paid attention to the woman part of that show. Whoops. Those the days. Oh, it's a cute spelling of Aaron. Unless it's Arian, but I'm guessing Aaron. At least you're not going to call her double Aaron. That would be interesting. That would be a choice. That would be a choice. Love the spelling of it. You've been happy with your name? Aw. That show was funny. I groomed a dog named Archie yesterday. I was off today. We had one dog that was my boss's cousin's dog or something. So I just rescheduled for a different day and they just closed for today. So we only had one dog. It's just so funny. Like Mother's Day, we were so booked with people like frantically like, the dog needs to be done. We're having family over, blah, blah, blah. And then Father's Day is silent. Like everyone knows Dad really doesn't care what the dog looks like. It's crazy though. The most expensive groom I did yesterday was for a French bulldog. This guy loves his dog so much. She got a whole 9 yards of every single possible like add-on package. It was the most expensive groom of the day, and it was the smallest and simplest dog of the day. It took me 45 minutes. Came out to $136. And he tipped. Like, bro, you are like casually dropping $150 on your dog just to go to the spa like every 3 weeks. That's insane. I aspire to be that level of like bougie. You could tell the dog was so loved and so well behaved though. This was Archie. So I figured out that Bernedoodles actually have brain cells if they're under 50 pounds. Under 50 pounds, they're goofy, but like there's some sense. Over 50 pounds, all sense has gone out the door. He turned out very cute. He was adorable. His feet are kind of jacked up because his mom chopped at them. So like, look at those grinchy fuckers. They are not round. Because I had asked, like, when she checked him in, like, oh, did he ever have clean feet? Like, poodle feet? And she was like, no, I cut at them. It's like, oh, okay. Because it kind of looked like grown-out poodle feet. Clean feet are so challenging, but they look so nice. I did them on Pippi once. They looked funny because she has cocker paws, but she wore it well. Pippi wears poodle coats well. It's when their feet are all naked. Like that. It's interesting. It looks so nice, though. It's so, it's so tight. It satisfies me. But it also gives me anxiety to do, because it's like, oh my god, one wrong move. One wrong move, friend. Because you go at that with, a surgical shave is, dog blades are opposite of people blades. Like in terms of length. So a surgical shave is between a 50 and a 60. And you do their feet with a 15 in reverse, which is a 45. Which is, wow, that's short. It's nerve-wracking. It's very nerve-wracking. It looks good, though. It looks very nice. A very nice fur-impaired. Can't call him fur-impaired. He did turn out so cute. And he was such a sweet pea. I loved him. I loved him very much. I only had one doofy-ass dog yesterday, which I figured out when... Let me switch our camera over. When Mom picked him up, or her up, I kind of was under the impression the dog had never been groomed before, because she was just like... And just moving in the most dangerous ways of, like, zero self-awareness. She was like a Slavka in doodle form. It was interesting. And when her mom picked her up, I asked that, and she said, no, she's only been groomed at the vet before, and they always cut her. So, one, I didn't cut her. I'm proud of myself for that. I was very, very careful. She took me a very long time, but safety first. But that's probably why she was so anxious about being groomed, is because she's been groomed at the place that she gets shots and exams and fingers up her butt and poked and prodded and blah, 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 blah. And her mom said at drop-off that she would be weird about her butt, and she was fine with her butt with me. So it must have been the association to the vet's office. Poor kid. She rescheduled with me, though. I get to see that dog again August 1st. She was very happy. It's like, oh, thank you. No, it's like going to getting a haircut at the doctor. Like, I would be afraid that they would just shave all my hair off and shave my head. Like, I'd be like this the whole time. That's a very mild example instead of like, but I guess for you guys, you get kind of a little bit of that. I don't have to deal with that, thankfully. Just a separator speculum piece elsewhere. I wonder which is more awkward or uncomfortable. Probably depends on the gender of your doctor. There we go. Mr. Gunther is chilling like a villain. I want to move Zeke's thing so I can turn around and see him. Oopie. Kicked it over. I love you. I love you. I want to give Ty some chicken before anything, and we'll give some to Gunther first. You flip us around here. I got some shrimp for Tank too. It's frozen, but it's fully cooked. Does that mean I can microwave it to defrost it? Or, oh wait, do I even have audio? Yes. Okay. Um, or do I have to like let it sit in water? My grandparents always put it in water in the sink to like in a bowl in water in the sink to defrost. But I don't know. These are really tiny shrimps too. They're not like shrimp cocktail shrimps. I didn't realize that at first. By then I was on the other side of the store. It's like, oh, I'm not going back. Never go back. You pull up chat and then we'll grab some chicken. Chicken. I've never defrosted shrimp myself, but when my grandparents would make shrimp cocktail, um, they would put it in a bowl of water just sitting in the sink to defrost. But like, can I put them in the microwave to like defrost them? If I just want to give Tank a couple? I don't know. Oh, Restream logged me out. Don't do that. Don't do that. I've never bought shrimp in my life. This was my first time buying shrimp. I broke my shrimp buying virginity. Can't test us on both sides here. I'll still be able to see computer chat while we're in here, but so the phone is ready for the on the go. For the on the go. Tank test. Tank test. Tank testing. 1, 2, 3. Perfect. Mr. Gunther. Tea break. We'll get you some chicken. Gunther's like a little toddler child, and he's like burnt out on nuggets now. So I had to get some kind of pre-cooked microwave chicken because I thought like just chicken breast would be too bland. He likes flavor. He likes flavor. He's been enjoying these. I can't remember what the brand was though. Bought probably more meat than I've ever bought in my life the other day. Well, no, I've made pulled pork, so I've bought pork shoulder or whatever the hell you use for that. But chicken. Chicken. Oh, you want the big piece. He always wants to take the big piece and steal it. It's a little bite. You can only take a little bite. You're a little guy. Zeke, do you want some? It's for you. You want that one instead? Ty is out and about tonight too because he hurt his paw. My vet was closed today, but he was in clinic, so we got it looked at and got some meds, and then he just has to have it checked again on Tuesday. I have no idea what he did though. He was fine when I left for work on Saturday, and then I got home, and his one paw is fat, and I kept swelling more and more and more and more. Like, I don't know what happened. I feel so bad. He's such a gentleman. He's the big man on campus. He's my good boy. His respiration is still about the same, but he hasn't laid in the litter box since I streamed last, in 2 days at the very least. I think he stopped on Friday. So I feel like that means he's less uncomfortable. Think you want some? I'm gonna need to wash this rug. This Gunther puts his nugget on the chicken on the rope. Zeke may be a bigger cat, but Gunther is the big man on campus. He's my perfect little gentleman. He might be the oldest cat in the house now. How old is Chong? Chong was 1 in 2011. So 2021, that's 12 plus 5. No, Chong was 1 in 2012. So to 2022 is 11. So Chong is 15. Chong is a year older. Oh my god, Chong is 15. He's a year older than Gunther. Chong is the last, well, Chong and Pippi are the last of the OG crew that I had when I first moved out to my first year of living in my apartment. And it was Chong and Munster and Bunny and Pippi. Oh, here you go, Zeke. Sorry. Chong and Pippi are the last two. I did not realize Chong was that old. Oh my god. He doesn't look it at all. He better live forever. You still have chicken and you're asking for more. I kind of meant to save some of this for Ty, but that's okay. There's more in the fridge. I just didn't think you guys would be like that super, like, acting like I've starved you right now. And that's okay. Here, Zeke, you still have one more, bud. And you and Gunther can split this one. Is that like the inferior chicken? You don't like that piece of chicken? Here you go. Gunther will eat it. Gunther, you get 2 more. Now I have chicken fingers. Fun. Fun. Good boy. Let Gunther have. Respect your elders. You all done? They cleaned their plate. Good job. Do you want to lick the plate? You're not really a plate licker. Neither of you are. That's all done. You can't have too much. You can have little snacks, but you can't have too much. It'll upset your tummy. Okay, let me throw this in the kitchen and then I'll grab us. Oh, it's probably super loud in this recording fans right there. Oops. I love you, baby gun. I love you. You're my little baby papa. Little baby papa. You're a good chimpkin. Oh, Zeke, that's my butt. Pussy. 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 You're in such a big mood right now. I love that for you. Zoom, zoom. Zoom, zoom. Here, I'll put this over here for you. How's that? He likes to fuck with that from, ow, that's me. That's me. That's me. From inside the tunnel. So weird. I got your butt. All right, darlings. Beagle boys. Good boys. Good boys, good boys. Coffee. Good ties and chimkins. And go see the kitty beebs. Gustav started trilling at me today, which was nice. He got close for some churros. Well, when I say churros, temptation snacks, really, but churro is faster to say than temptations. Toy girl. Hey, Agent Cody Banks. That's his new nickname for the day is Agent Cody Banks. I don't know. It started this morning and I can't stop calling him that. My kitchen is a mess. It's zero motivation to clean today. I just like recouped on energy. And my house is a mess. I gotta clean tomorrow. It's a mess. It's like rotisserie chicken or something. My aunt taught me this life hack. When you open a package that's not resealable, cut just the tiniest bit off the top, and then you make your own zip tie with it. Ah ha ha ha. Ah ha ha ha. Get this on the plate. It says pre-cooked, but there's also microwave instructions. And I don't know how to fuck with meat, so we're just gonna microwave it. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just doing my best. I can do in life is your best. Touching gets tunnels, a death warrant in her world. Oh no. Oh no. Maybe. Don't touch it then. I like having you in this world. I know, Pippi, I got some for you too. Oh, it's sizzling. It's gonna be too hot now. Ah, sorry. I'll blow on it. I'll blow on it. I want to try heating up the shrimp, but I feel like it'll be stink. Oh, this is really hot. I'm sorry. Oopsies. I feel like it'll be stinky and like gross. But I'm not the one eating it, but like, I want to prepare it properly for him. I'm gonna Google it. How to de-thaw frozen cooked shrimp. Place in a colander and submerge under cold water for 5 to 10 minutes. For best results, use the slow thaw method in a refrigerator and overnight. Always avoid warm water or the microwave. Okay, that's okay. Just put it in a bowl in the sink with what? Okay. I do not doubt your knowledge then, Grandpa. Alrighty then. I'm gonna put this in the fridge to let it cool, and I'm gonna grab shrimp. Ty, Pippi, you're in charge. Hello, big head. Your poor little Fozzie. It's so chunky. Come here. It's so chunky. So chunky. I'm officially out of spare litter boxes, so I had to grab another one. When I was at PetSmart on Saturday, I found out what Gustav used to eat. They reached out to his prior owners, and he's eating now. Finally, I think. Fuck. He got so excited, and he chowed down, and he's been eating so good since he's back on what his diet used to be. I'm very proud of him. Hold on, Ty. I'm sorry. It's gotta cool off. Shrimp is in the freezer downstairs. Hold on. I should have said that while I was upstairs.
Basement door open. Basement door closed. Basement door open. Basement door closed.
Even in cool water, like that's so weird. Is defrosting shrimp like the opposite of ceviche? Like where the liquid, well, citrus like cooks it, whereas this being cold will make it Look how little these are. They're little baby shrimp. Ah. Put them in a bowl. They're just little guys. Boop, boop. Boop, boop. Round, around, around, around. They're going to be over here anyway because I want to put more cat food in the cabinets. Welcome, evil Wizzy Bear. Everyone, a good night so far. We are going to attempt to defrost them with water. Don't know. I'm going to use the exact same bowl my grandparents used to. It's like a salad bowl or something. I don't know. Try that. I'm not going to defrost a lot of them, but like it seems foolish to do just like 5 at a time. So I'll have some in the fridge for him. How long does shrimp last in the fridge? I don't know anything about seafood. I'm now realizing. My dad is not a seafood person. He says it's from the sea. It's not for me. So we never like had it unless we were at my grandparents growing up. And then it was already like made because my grandma was traditional and did everything. Like all I had to do was set the table. That's enough for like a couple days of shrimp. And our experiment. I don't know. Submerge. It is now shrimp soup. And it's going in the sink. And Grandpa, take the wheel. Take the wheel. 3-day weekend birthday. Oh, happy birthday. Nice to be chilling. It's a weird time of year for like everything. I don't know. It's been slow season for me at work too. Everyone's busy with graduations and weddings and summer vacations and just everyone's busy with everything. I'm gonna put these back down in the freezer. It may be a little defrost. I don't know. We'll see. It's just an experiment.
Basement door open. Basement door closed. Basement door open. Basement door closed.
Give some to the big Z kitties and Mr. Tank. See if Tank likes shrimp. Tank is a shrimp toy, and I threw it at his head once, and that's how this whole shrimp debacle came to be. And fill bottles. I hate filled bottles. But not as much as I hate carrying bowls through the house because I always spill something. Okay, we have a system for those. And I've been fight, you coward. You won with the system. I clearly had a sparkling water phase years ago. Then I got a soda stream because I realized it was insane that I had like this many bottles on a weekly basis. Now I can't drink really anything carbonated anymore, so joke's on me. Only thing I can really drink that's carbonated, oddly enough, is Squirt. And that's the only thing that helps with my nausea too. Which is like such an unhealthy coke. That's the only thing that's carbonated that can make me sick. It must have like the perfect sugary whatever mix to be exactly what my body needs. I don't know. It's strange. It's strange, Tyra. They're my bottles. Look at you. Oh my god. Counter space. Come back. Thank you. Bloop. Done. Okay. I am stressed about that. It stresses me out when I see a bunch of bottles on the counter. I'm the one who puts them there. It's busy for you, but everyone's air conditioning is breaking when they get pissed off and you give an estimate to repair it. I mean, it is an expensive repair, but it is what it is in terms of parts and labor, and people need to understand that. Because my AC went out last year and like basically had to be rebuilt, and it was a pretty penny. And like thinking back, I should have just like spent double the amount and just gotten a whole new unit. But repairs are expensive. I don't blame them for being upset. Excuse me, son. Nipple beans. Which ones are Gunther's favorite? I think the ocean whitefish or whatever it is. Get that turbo going. I think turbo still locks ads. They do not make this thing easy to open. I'm standing on the dog bed in case anyone's wondering why I suddenly got taller. Oh no, Cytogenics, you're back just in time to have your PTSD from PetSmart triggered. Petco, I don't remember which. Either where the pets go or where the dumb girls go. It's nice to be able to help family out like that. Welcome back officially. Officially. New sister you got for like $4,000, then give them your labor for free. Nice. I think I paid close to like $3,800 in parts and labor to have mine fixed. Which really, I should have just like gone for like a 5 to 6K range and have gotten a new unit because mine is like 20 years old. But they rebuilt it and like souped it up, but it could have just been new and like had a warranty. I don't know. Stocking and facing. Just imagine you like rocking to yourself, stocking and facing right now. All right, how do we start this? 1, 2, 3. And I'll just be out of balance because I already pulled one can out of this. Right there. Go with the Tupperware. Go with your people. Oh wait, those can be last. Those are gonna throw off the count. That way there's no unpredictable patterns for anyone's tummies. Really, they should have like the same flavor every day, but it's been cheaper lately to get the variety pack than the single large packs. Which the flavors really aren't that different. This one's beef, this one's turkey, this one's chicken and salmon. The only one that's really the odd one out is the one that Gunther likes because it's ocean whitefish and tuna. Very fishy stinky. Very fishy stinky. Not wrong. Sorry for the triggering. I don't have all the time in the world to do all these menial tasks offline, so you guys get stuck doing them with me online. I hate when the cans are dented like this. It makes me feel like it's not safe. But I ordered this a while back. I'm gonna leave this one out and tell Amazon because like that makes me think that the food is bad. Like it's not. It is bloated on top. Okay, which ones are all dinged? God damn it. I'm complaining. That one's definitely still sealed. It's a little dinged, but it's not bad. Those are all okay. This one is yuck. Like you have to justify to them the package is like whatever it is. Those are okay. Those are okay. Those are okay. Stinkies. No bueno. And then are any of Gunther's wonky? No, Gunther's are perfect because Gunther is perfect. Well, this one's dented. It's okay though. Alright, well now I get to leave garbage out on my counter and then complain to Amazon. Complained about this like 2 packs back. Oh my god. No, we're not rerunning that dad joke again of the taste test. Chicken should be cool now. My dad embarrassed the fuck out of me when I was a kid. We were at the grocery store and we were ringing up. We got a whole bunch of canned cat food because it was like super on sale or something. And while my dad was having it run through like the conveyor belt and being scanned, the woman made a comment about it like, oh, like this must be a good flavor. Like, do they like it? And my dad just goes like, without missing a beat, tastes great on crackers. And it was just mortifying. I was probably 11 or 12 and I was so embarrassed. I was so embarrassed. I'm from Chicago. I just am like Pan American in my expressions. I don't really have a Chicago accent unless I'm really, 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 really upset with you. And then, like, you hear it. You guys don't hear it really very much. Sometimes it comes a little bit out with Harley. Why am I putting this into, like, cat bite pieces? The chicken is cool now. We'll check on the shrimp when we get to tank. Because I don't believe it'll be thawed in, like, 10 to 15 minutes. Chicken for your poor little paw. Ty's paw is swollen. I don't know what happened. It was fine yesterday morning. You can stand. And then it blew up when I got home from work. The two are so different. You see. It's so fat. But it's like squishy fat. I wanted to put some medicine on it too while I'm giving you snacks. Let me see, please. Maybe that's not chicken. Okay, thank you. That'll soak in a sec. Chicken. Chicken, 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 chicken. These are like fake pieces. They're just breading. Here. Pivot. 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 Okay. There you go. Oh, I put it for you right there. I did. I did. I don't think really like Chicago is anything to write home about, but I feel like everyone feels that way about where they grew up. It's just like meh. I don't think I have like any kind of particular accent from anywhere in general. I just have a combination of how I was spoken to as a child that has become my dialect. But it's not like definitively from anywhere. Because my grandma lived all over the country. But she had a Polish accent and a Chicago accent. But her verbiage was that of many places around the country. I don't think I speak in like an incredibly unique way, but I don't think I have a discernible dialect from anywhere. It's just combination mode. Yes, you get chicken because you got a boo-boo, and I feel bad for you, and I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened. It's the one thing I hate. Like, I love being back to work, but I hate being away from the zoo. And, like, not being able to, like, stare at them in person all day. That part I hate. I hate. But I honestly love being back to work. It's so weird. Like, I'm around animals all day at home, so you'd think I'd be, like, kind of used to it or, like, burnt out. Not, like, burnt out, but, like, the novelty of it would no longer exist. Like, it's just normalized. But I love it. I have so much fun, even with the bad dogs at work. Even though, like, it's still work, but it's work that I don't mind, so it doesn't feel like work. I don't know. The crazy doodle kind of felt like work, but that's okay. That's just a doodle, and that's expected. Hello, Goofy. But then I get home, and, like, it makes me appreciate my dog so much more, too. because they're so much more normal than what I have to deal with all day for the most part. Like we understand each other on a higher level. It's not just like temporary friends. It's like our bonded place. I had chicken fingers. Being a zookeeper would be fun, but no, I'm a dog and cat groomer. I get to see kitties and puppies all day, and it's nice. Ty is such a good boy. From Cali. That's where most people guess that I'm from, but I used to up talk a lot. So like my voice would sound like this when I'm talking, and it would be so exaggerated and higher pitched, and that I think makes me sound like I'm from California. I don't know. Especially with like the uptick at the end. Like everything's a question. Pibby is in pure mooch mode. She's like, I get the chicken. I'm the old lady. I'm the old lady. I get everything. Respect your elders. Ty is the best boy, and I feel so bad that his poor little pausey hurts. Wasn't a total poodle cut, not just a doodle. I had a doodle. I had a Bernedoodle. I had a golden doodle, and I had a poodle yesterday. And I had a golden retriever, and I had a French bulldog. So the Bernedoodle turned out cute. I figured out that they're kind of smart if they're, well, not smart, but just not dumb. If they're under 50 pounds, it's like 50-pound plus. They're kind of dumb, but he was a good boy. He was neutered, thankfully, so I think that made a difference. And the poodle turned out good. It was just a shave down. And then the doodle was crazy, but I found out when they picked her up that she used to get groomed at the vet. This is her first time at like a groomer's, not just the vet groomer. So I think in a couple of grooms she'll be normal again. She was very happy with how I did, and I felt like it looked terrible because nothing was even, and I did my best, and the dog was like trying to get sliced by the scissors the entire time, like Slavka in dog form, zero self-preservation skills. But I think she'll be fine after a few more grooms, not at the vet, because I'd be a little nervous around like someone doing my hair if they also stuck their fingers up my butt unexpectedly. Like it makes sense. It makes sense. It's also a Canadian thing, the upswing at the end. But there it's like genuinely questionative versus just like an annoying vocal octave. Like the California style makes it sound like you're speaking something obvious. Versus I feel like Canadian is like a polite questioning sort of. Throw in a few hella in your sentence, you'd be certified Cali. I used to get that all the time on stream. And now I just speak with my bland, plain voice because what's the point of up talking? It's annoying. I started annoying myself with it. There's oodles of doodles indeed. I don't think there's any day that we have at least 4 dogs and one of them is not a doodle of some sort. Everyone has a fucking doodle. Everyone. Everyone. Slavka in dog form is kind of Labrador. Possibly. Just whatever the most happy-go-lucky dumbass, but like, well, I'm gonna do my own thing and move unpredictably, like it's fucking psycho. That is what she is. Hi, baby. Is it really the Sam Kelly vibe? I don't know. I've only been experiencing like a Canadian culture on TV, so it's probably over exaggerated because that's what TV is. So that makes sense. I'm no longer over exaggerated TV though. I'm just tired. Dog butt bed. No, you're my pillow. Come back. Come back. I'm seeking. You're warm. I love you. You're a good boy. You're a good boy. Hi. I love you. I love you. Alright, we're gonna go see baby Phoebe. You're gonna be a good boy. See Peebs and Claudia and Dude and Tank. And there's hair in my eye. And spend some time with Gustav. Gustav started trilling at me today. And he's getting a little bit more curious. I did find out about a little bit more of his backstory, though. They can't release all the information. But they wrote on his relinquishment paper thing that he was very, very bonded with his owner and only liked one person. And I did find out that he has another bite on his record. So if I had to go to the hospital, which I think I'm managing my bite, then he would have 3 bites on his record. I think they're more flexible with cats than dogs for that kind of stuff. Cats are just like considered a nuisance, whereas like dogs are considered a danger to society with bites. But it makes sense why he's lashing out the way that he is. My arm is not too puffy. I've been taking antibiotics that I just have like laying around the house, so I'm sure that's gonna go great in the near future. But I did realize too, he bit me 5 times in one go. There's a tiny mark there, tiny mark there, tiny mark there. Those are fine. They mean nothing. They're superficial. This one is pretty deep, but not too swollen. Like it's a little bit bumped. And this one is the deepest. Like there's like a hole in my arm when he did it. But the swelling isn't awful. Like my arms are still the same size. Like this arm is not bit and it's bigger. You see the difference? Like why is my dominant arm so much bigger than my non-dominant arm? Like exercising, I do the same things. Do I just like overuse my right arm all day? So unless it swells up to the size of my other arm, I'm not worried at all. But it's such a difference. It's so weird. It's my jerking off arm. Hi, Peebs. Hello, Tiny. You're just a little scrump. Just a little scrump. Yeah, my jerking arm. Which, like, true, but it's not like I'm a compulsive masturbator. Like, I don't think that would make a difference. But that is my dominant arm. I actually can't. I have a bad wrist on my left side. It's more pain than it's worse. She's purring so big. She's so lovey. That's probably why my arm is bigger. It's my kitty scooping arm. When you're picking up like 10 different versions of 10 pounds with one arm each day, I guess that makes quite a difference on top of like regular workouts. That's like 100 curls extra on one arm. Oh my god. It's not bean flicking, it's bean picking up arm. Hey, baby. She's such a happy little potato right now. You're so happy. I got yous. Broken wrists suck. I feel for you. It's probably more what it is than dominant arm favored for some previous injury. Possibly. Well, the world might never know. Pea beans. Little pea beans. She's ready for night-night, I guess. You flipped your fake toy over, though. Your sibling toy. You ready for night-nights? I love you. I love you. Love you. I know my fingers smell like chicken. Okay. She put herself to bed. She's so funny. She's like, she literally thinks like I'm her mom and I need to put her in a den. And I know that's like putting a very human characteristic onto a cat, but she's so weird. She's like eager to please in that way. It's She's the weirdest cat I've ever met, both physically and mentally. Oh my god. She's so strange. I am so glad she loves her tent. Otherwise, this would be like torturous and cruel and horrible. I'm so glad she's okay with it, but like, it's so weird to me. I don't think it'll ever stop being weird to me. I don't know. I don't feel good about it because I don't like her being cooped up. Like, have the run of the room. But that's what makes her happy. So, okay. I get it. But it's weird. It feels unkind, but it's what she wants. I don't know. She's a strange bird. I'm so glad she likes it though. Oh no, what did I press? Cat like crate trainer puppers. Unfortunately though, she still really hates the crate. You have to surprise her and like put her in butt first, and she hates going in the crate. She hates it. But that's fair. She's been to the doctor for quite a bit, so. Hello. Hello. Meow. 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 Where are you going? Hi. Hello. Dog herds you every morning when you leave for work. Aw, what kind of dog do you have? Is it like a cattle dog or an Aussie? Or some kind of shepherd? I want to incorporate her into the big zoo. Right now, she's too small to have the run of the house still. Um, she could get behind the fireplace downstairs, which is really the only thing that's like a hazard in my house. But she could get underneath that. She's back on her daily steroid instead of going to every other day. And she's 100% better physically. Again, no more incidents. Hi, I'm sorry. So once she's a little bit bigger, and assuming we can keep a good timeline of med schedule, whether she has to take it every day or can eventually go to every other day, then she'll be incorporated with the big zoo. But I know she's good with other cats and dogs because she was with Voya, and someone else was in there at some point, and I don't remember who. Maybe it was Kid. And she's been around Pippi, so she'll be fine with everyone. She just has to be at the point where she's not having accidents. So number one, I'm not cleaning everything up, and two, I know that her health is supreme. She just has to get a little bit bigger and get out of her tent phase. But honestly, I might try to find like some in between of like Tank's acorn and her tent to like put up in every room, sort of, so she has like a den to go into, if that makes sense. I may try that from the start. I would just really assume that she'll grow out of this like I need to be in a small space thing. I don't know. It's so weird, and I've never encountered this, and I really can't find like even on Reddit anyone posting about anything like this. Like she is the first of her kind. I don't understand. The cat is wildly uncooperative with vet trips. No, poor baby. Most cats hate it, honestly. I'm trying to think who I have that's like okay with it. Chong is pretty okay with it. Kid is pretty okay with it. But they usually go in together, so they have a buddy system. Everyone else hates it. Void was foaming at the mouth when I had her at the vet the other day. She had to go in on Friday because she shot a snot rocket, which meant she wasn't fighting off her upper respiratory infection anymore. Thanks, dude. Hi, Fluffy. She went in and she was shaking. She was foaming at the mouth. She was freaking out, and she was just so scared. I felt so bad. But she hasn't gone to the vet since, like, the babies were weaned. She hasn't been to the vet since she was spayed, actually. She hasn't had to go in for anything since. She was terrified. Felt so bad. I mean, I like small and cozy spaces, but it's hard to make small and cozy spaces in a house. Like, for whatever her psychological needs are. I can't, I don't have the space to put one of those pop-up tents in every single room and like rotate her through them. I guess if we had to, we would figure it out, but it's madness. I do like small spaces though. But a small space for me as a human is much bigger than a small space for her as a 5-pound cat, kitten. Little Slug is chill with everything. He's a good little boy. You're a floor sleeper too, Evil. Hi, baby. You just be whoop. Kitty overboard. Come here. Come here. Come here. I'm a floor sleeper. I don't believe in bed frames. She is such a lover girl. Someone within like 3 hours of the Chicagoland region, please adopt her. Bonus points if you have a dog or other cats because she likes both of those. Extra bonus points if you have kids because I think she would do phenomenally with children. She's very happy-go-lucky. She's liquid as fuck. Like, look at this cat. She's liquid. You can do anything with her. She'll probably even wrap around my shoulders. She won't stay, but she'll be gentle about jumping over. Like, she is the perfect cat. Someone adopt her. Claudia needs wub indeed. She's so liquid. I'm working on teaching her tricks. She might do ubbies now. Come here. Come here. No, you're gonna be down. No, come here. Come here. Up. She stretches up like Voya sometimes. We're working on the consistency part of it. Cats are not trainable, only suggestible. And right now she suggests that she have some time with my paws. Strange girl. I need to clean. See, you can always tell in the black cats when I need to clean because they're fuzzy. Like extra fuzzy. I need to clean. Today I just relaxed and did like little background things that I needed to catch up on during the week. Tried to make more space in my phone. My phone still barely works and I can't like do shit with pictures. Anything that I posted today was like taken on Instagram and just I can't save anything on my phone. I don't know what to do. I've deleted over 6,000 pictures and like 15 apps at this point, and it still is full and won't work. I don't know what to do. 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 I don't know. I don't know. I think small spaces are just soothing in general. Like it goes back to like being in the womb. I think most people like small spaces. Unless you're like claustrophobic. That's the negative to the rule. She's done it on stream before, yeah. I just don't think she's in the mood for it tonight, which is very typical of Cat. Voy only always did it because he was always eager to please, but sometimes you had to encourage him a little bit. Chewy has a multi-story cat condo that hangs on the door. I don't know if I would trust that. That's interesting, though. Let me know how that works. Is the message history full? No, I even deleted all of my old voicemails except for the ones I had, like, that were special, like either from, not like special, but like the ones from the vet or I have a whole bunch of voicemails from my grandpa. So I saved those, but I deleted at least like 200 voicemails, I think. I deleted all my old messages before like 2023 because I had messages back to like 2019 on my phone. I've deleted so much. I don't know if it's like it doesn't sync to the cloud or something because it charges for such a short period of time while I'm asleep. So I'm gonna have to leave it on the charger for like a good hot minute tomorrow and see if that makes a difference, I'm thinking. Because that's the only other thing I can come back to is like it just has to be that. I feel terrible though. I haven't posted shit in like 4 days because I literally can't. It's such a mess. It's such a mess. I only have 3 group texts going. My niece and nephew and the rescue and work. I'm not a group text person. It does have well, not a space management app, but it's within settings because I was looking at that today, and it said iPhone syncing is paused, like to cloud or whatever. So that's what I'm thinking might be the issue. Is it just hasn't gotten like, it hasn't figured out that there's space because it probably hasn't just removed all of the photos that are taking up all of the space in general. I got like 1 gig back from deleting apps and voicemails and messages. The most of storage on my phone is photos, unfortunately. The cloud is not full though. I have 1.6 terabytes out of 2 terabytes full. So I have a lot of pictures. And yeah, I've cleared the recently deleted album. I've cleared literally everything I possibly can. I'm not stupid. That's why I'm baffled why I can't make space in my phone. But I don't want to replace it. Fuck that. I bought it 2 years ago. It should work at least for another 2 years before Apple nukes it and makes it obsolete. Not replacing that shit. Although my carrier does have a deal going on, which I don't like paying off phones. I always buy my phone in full, even though you eat the cost of it. It has a deal going on right now where if you go into a contract to pay $10 a month for 2 years or something, then it's, I don't know, that's the deal they have going on. So worst comes to worst, I can replace my phone, but I really don't fucking want to. I really don't want to. It does make sense to start from the beginning when problem solving, and that's when I just started offloading things, and then it was still full, and then deleting things, and then it was still mostly full, and then deleting more things, and it's still mostly full, and then deleting more and more. But the problem is that every day that I'm deleting pictures, I'm taking more pictures. Not like the 1,000 that I'm deleting, but I did turn down my camera settings too, so it's only shooting in 1080 instead of 4K, and pictures are slightly lower quality. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with it. I don't like having contracts going on, because then what if I forget about it? It hasn't happened many times, but it's happened before, and it's like, oh god, I need to pay this. I haven't paid this in months. It's not friendly to the ADHD brain. You're just taking a little bath and chilling. Arr, 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 arr. We're gonna get some love. I don't want to deal with manually syncing it. So I think I just need to leave it on the charger for a really long time tonight and tomorrow and let it actually fully sync. Because they probably expect you to sleep 8 hours a night or something and let your phone charge for that amount of time. I don't. I haven't been sleeping good before work, so I'm still sleeping in 4-hour spurts. Hey, baby. That's what I do between phones, when I really need to clean up storage for a moment, is airdrop things back and forth. But anything that I would need to post would be airdropped onto here, and then it's a pain in the dick to post it, because I'm not logged into anything. So it's counterintuitive for this point in time, unfortunately. And all of my editing stuff is on my main phone. So any big files, I really have no business yeeting back and forth. If this doesn't do it, then the next step is just to move all of the content that I need to edit onto Dropbox and just edit it on the computer. And then that'll free up at least a few gig, I'm sure. Because everything I've filmed in the last 2 years is in 4K. So anything sitting in limbo is in 4K. I don't know what my phone is. I'd have to look in the settings, and I'm streaming off of it right now, so I don't actually know. It might be. I have no idea. Yeah, I'm Mac dumb as well. I have no experience with it. I don't even know how to log into a Mac. I don't know. When she just snorted while she was grooming herself. When one of my previous friends lived with me for a while, she had a Mac, and she told me her password and how to type it and log in. And I tried 3 times and almost locked her out of the computer because I couldn't figure it out, even though I'm pretty sure I was typing it properly. I don't know. Mac is not meant for me. It's not meant for me. Boop, 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 boop. Silly girl. You're so cute and sweet. Worst case scenario, I'll just replace it. I just don't want to. You gonna chill like a villain, lady? I think so. Go see Mr. Tank. Tank, tank, tankity tank. I'll put the camera and chat down there and then I'll grab his shrimp. Well, let me check on it in the kitchen and see if it's actually defrosted. I still don't believe that that would work, but like, if they say it works, okay. I believe you, Google. And like, that's what my grandpa used to do, but I feel like I was out for a couple hours before dinner. But like, a kid's perception of time, especially when hungry, is way different than like actual time. You guys remember like smelling dinner being cooked and feeling like it's taking like 1,000 hours, but like really it's just 20 minutes. Big mess. Big mess. I'm gonna touch it. It is de-thawed. It's squishy. That's weird. I didn't expect that. How does de-thaw so fast? It's like the opposite of ceviche. They're like the same concept. I got shrimp for Tank. It's tiny shrimps. Shrimps for tankers. You guys inspired me the other night. Oh god, what is this doing? Inspired me with the reminder of hitting Tank in the head with his shrimp. I owe him shrimp. They always tout themselves as having approachable machines. For whatever reason, they might as well be talking another language for me. I kind of feel the same way. I enjoyed like the aesthetic of it because I like customized and like Macified my windows when I don't know, I was a stupid teenager and I had time. And it was like nice and cute, but I don't know how to actually function a Mac. They're not great for streaming either, so it's like stupid to buy one. Drain it and then bring the bowl with, I guess. Can I carry all of this? I think so. That's so weird. Shrimp incoming. Oh my god. I'll give some to the big zoo too. Alright, I think I can do this if I put you guys away for a minute. I think. Shrimp mission. Ty, do you want a shrimp? Do you like shrimp? You're kind of like a beef guy. I don't think you'll like it. Do you want it? You're gonna spit it out. Are you eating it? Okay. Pippi, do you like shrimp? I don't think you've had shrimp before. You get a well, that's a kitty sized shrimp. You can have a doggy sized shrimp. Pippi shrimp? She does not know what that is. Do you not like it? There you go. She does not know what that is. Yummy. Yay. I guess yummy. I don't know. I used to like shrimp. I just choose not to eat it. Into the dungeon. Apparently, as it's now been dubbed. Dungeon. Scoots, Ty is out. You cannot be flying around. Who wants shrimp? Who wants shrimp? Who? Oh god, I should have locked this. What did I do? Ah! Ah! It's funny because the industry standard for your work is almost all Mac. Slavka! You are the one Windows that rules them all, or maybe you're Linux. I don't know. The power of the Bobs. Just a little pocket space. Pippi eats anything, I bet. Mostly, she doesn't eat lettuce. When I'm making salad and I drop lettuce, she's like, she comes up and gets excited, but then she's like, "Oh, this is not what I was looking for." Otherwise, yeah, her favorite part of conventions is crumb surfing the ground. Void, do you like shrimp? You want to try? Slavka, do you like shrimp? Ty was definitely confused. I've never had shrimp in my house before. Slavka, you don't like it, Void? Slavka, do you want to try? You were after it. You call yourself a cat. There, it's on the ground. Kid, Chong, Charlie. Charlie, you want shrimp? What kind of cats do I have? The fuck? I gave Charlie a complex. That's why she won't come and eat the shrimp. You called her chunky. She is looking a little thick. Bless you, my poor little sneezy void. No one's eating any of the shrimp. They left the shrimp. The shrimp has been abandoned. It's been shrabandoned. The fuck. The fuck. Cat's not eating seafood. All these years of cartoons. No, it is a lie. I don't know what's happening here. Charlie, do you want it? Boyd tries to love on Charlie, and they do like little nose sniffs, but Charlie's like, I was a mother before you, superiority complex. They're like interested, but like not. You wanna try? Kid and Chong don't even want to come over to try it. Chong! Chong! Chong is fast asleep on the couch. Chong! You're breathing, right? Yes, okay. He's just tired. I don't know. They also did just get their wet food a little bit ago. Charlie. I feel like Charlie's had like the shrimpy meow mix for that has pieces of shrimp. Kid, do you want some? Try. Oh, Charlie's licking it. Maybe we have some interest. All the mamas involved for Father's Day. They said oh, Slavka. You bitch, you're not gonna eat yours. You're not gonna fuck with her. Come here. That's not nice. She's such a stink bomb. They say we're single moms. We didn't need no man. We raised our babies on our own. Kid didn't eat it either. Are you guys kidding me? You gotta be kidding me. Don't fuck with Charlie. Yeah, you tell her, Charlie. They have such a funny rivalry, but they like sleep together. Like, make it make sense. I don't know. They're roommates. They're not sisters. You really don't want the shrimp. Slavka, you were from the streets. You ate garbage, and now you're too good for shrimp. Okay. Okay. He was curious about it, but didn't end up eating it. It's still there. Okay. Maybe Tank likes it. I don't know. Yeah, Charlie, you'll eat the nasty shit in the sink strainer, but you won't eat some fucking fresh shrimp. Well, fresh, frozen shrimp. Close enough. Close enough. Typical Slavka, indeed. You are so... She's such an instigator. That's what she is. She just instigates. She instigates and dominates. And quote, quote, fresh. I don't know. I thought about buying fresh shrimp, and then I got concerned, like, what if no one eats it, and I have a bunch of stinky shrimp? So I figured frozen was the best way to go. And then I looked for, like, the small bag, but I didn't realize the small bag had small shrimps. I thought it was full-size shrimps, which, whatever. But they're little baby kitty-sized shrimps. Just little guys. They're so weird. So weird. She's a snooty garbage cat indeed. Chong, do you want some shrimp? Do you want to think about the concept? Chong. Do you like shrimp? Kid, you're gonna stick your head in the bowl? Okay. He tried. Do you like it? Do you like the shrimp? Do you care about the shrimp? He spends most of his time in Marble's bed. It's sad. It's weird. I never thought about them being friends. But I guess they were together for a long time. You guys had a secret relationship. They're all interested in the idea of it, but like, not the actual execution. You are so nosy. You don't even want it. But you're the baby child, so you're just like, it's for me. It's for me. I want it. 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 The kid that throws a fit and then doesn't even give a shit about what they have. They just want it because all their siblings have it. Like when you gotta get like the toddler a fake cell phone because the older kids have phones. Fresh shrimp is a little more translucent. Yeah, it looks, I mean, it's smaller, but it looks different than what we used to have for like shrimp cocktail for not just like with dinner, because with dinner would be frozen, but when we did like family parties, it would be like the fresh circle tray that you get at the store. I remember my dad being in charge of getting it one year and he's just looking at it. He's like, I don't know anything about shrimp. It smells like shrimp. We'll get this one. He's so funny without meaning to be. Slavka makes the best stream cat because she wants everything. She's certainly lively. She's a very lively guest. Hi, kid. Ah, the middle child complex. Feel for you. No shrimp for you. No soup for you. Aw, kid, we love you. Let's see how Tank feels about shrimp. It's lock and dot us. I don't know. I might lose chat if I do that. I don't know. We'll see. That won't sit there. I don't feel like setting this down again. There. Okay. We are stable tables. Mr. Tang, do you like shrimp? Do you like shrimp? You better like shrimp, because otherwise, what do I do with the shrimp? I give it to the dogs, I guess. Shrimp. Shrimp, shrimp. Shrimp for my shrimp. Tankers was the inspiration for the shrimp. It ends up being one of the dogs. Even if it ends up being for the dogs, since they're the ones who actually eat it, right? Are you turning up your nose at that? Yeah, you better eat it. What is wrong with my cats? Like, no offense, but like, are you all dumb? It's seafood. It's food. It's snack. Tank eats rice cakes. And he won't eat shrimp. Tank actually loves rice cakes. But like, I am shocked. He's just like, I'm too good for this. I'm royalty. Mm, 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 mm. I am baffled. He's interested in the bowl. Do you want like all of it? Are you greedy? Maybe? No? You just want to sniff it? Now I just have a shrimp blanket? Yeah, I guess don't buy that brand of shrimp. I don't know. I'm not gonna try it, but I don't know what the brand was. It was it was an organic one at Jewel. That's all I know. Most cats love seafood, and it's so stinky that like they get interested in it. I don't understand why they don't like it. Oh, it smells like shrimp. That's disgusting. I haven't smelled that. That was a very brave, big sniff. That was not the most pleasant. Oh my god. I mean, it smells stinky enough, but okay, the dogs have shrimp now. I just like need a moment to take this in. I'm baffled. Tank's begging for his other snack right now, but they really don't like the shrimp. What the fuck? I went on a mission for. I spent money. It was like $10 for that bag of shrimp. It was $10.99. It was on sale, but like that's like $11 worth of shrimp for no reason. I should have just gotten like 3 shrimps at the meat counter. Oh my god! But I chickened out. Like too, like also I was thinking like, oh, they're gonna like it. It's better to have like more on hand. Come here, Tank. They don't like the shrimp. I can't believe it. Cat, what the heck? What the heck? It was supposed to be like a really fancy, exciting, special treat. And none of them care. Maybe they just know better too much, pampered the zoo too much, turning up their nose at food. I'm shocked with Charlie though. She literally eats like nasty week-long like sink strainer things. She's broken into the garbage before. Like, Tank, you used to eat bugs, and you won't eat shrimp? Come here. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to shame you. Come here. Do you want up and hang out and get some love a little bit, or do you just want your snacks? I'd like to love on you a little bit. Oh, it was like a double yawn. That was weird. There's a baby yawn and then a big yawn. Now we know just fast food. They're like their food deep fried. What fast food places? There's like Long John Silver's. Do they have like breaded fish? Maybe that's what they would like. Do they still make combination restaurants? Like I remember there used to be, or like combination fast food places, I should say. I remember there used to be Long John Silver's and Taco Bell, and like an A&W and a something else together. And then there's like a Dunkin' and a Baskin Robbins that I know is, I'm pretty sure is still together. So I'll get some Taco Bell and then I'll get them some Long John Silver's. I don't know. Dink's looking at me like, yeah, Mom, that's what I want. He's looking up at me with direct googly eye contact. Garbage Cat Charlie surprised me too, making you reevaluate your own shrimp purchases. I have like single-handedly tanked the shrimp economy now. No one is ever going to buy shrimp again. It's not cat tested and mom approved. We're at the end of the line with shrimp. Got popcorn shrimp, battered shrimp, shrimp cocktail, deep fried shrimp, boiled shrimp. So many different kinds of shrimp. I feel like you've even got popcorn shrimp at KFC even. I wonder. I usually get the cat's Popeyes, or the dog's, well, the zoo Popeyes. I don't think I've gotten them KFC, so I don't know what's on the KFC menu. Popeyes is catfish, but Popeyes catfish makes me want to vomit. Every once in a while we used to get Popeyes chicken and, or maybe it was Brown's. Is it Brown's that has catfish? Somewhere we got chicken from. That we also got catfish because my dad's long-term girlfriend liked it, and it made me so nauseous on the ride. I like catfish, like at a restaurant, but that version nauseated me. It was so gross. I could not do it. I could not. Maybe the zoo hasn't seen enough Forrest Gump to appreciate the shrimp. All right, so we're going to watch it with you. How long is the movie? We're going to spend tomorrow watching it with you, with them, with her. Maybe Gigi would like some. With Peavy, with the boys, with Claudia, with Dude, with Gustav. I'll be repeating the movie in my sleep. Fairly eating at Popeyes, but shrimp is in the vein of Louisiana cooking. I don't remember if it's there. I just always look for chicken because that's what they want, and like now we're on to Burger King chicken. I don't know. I think it was a decently long movie, 2 hours maybe. I feel like it too. The book wasn't like horribly thick, but they put so much into the movie. 10 hours of 5 different screenings. That's a full day. That's a full day of work of movie watching. That'd be crazy. Maybe I'll just pull up the scene on YouTube and like condense time. All right, you just want your snack. I'm causing you more trouble than it's worth right now. He's like looking at me so impatiently. If he could like figure out how to like tap his foot, he would be doing that. Like, come on, Mom. If he had thumbs, he'd be snapping his fingers. Mother, he'd be ringing a bell. Mother, supper, feed me, take care of me, give me food. At least love. He's like, love? I would love for you to give me some snacks. Okay. I don't know. Once again, everyone got me all day today, so they're like sick of my shit. They're not as big into the idea of a visit as usual. Claudia is a little bit, but she just like loves me, so that's okay. Mr. Tank, get your snackaroo. You shoved your lick mat. underneath your, what's it called? Oh, you know what? You're gonna have to hold on, honey. I will be right back. I feel like I'm really sick. I don't know, but I think. Hold on. Okay. Sorry, Tank. I didn't mean to give you blue balls in your tummy. Poor dude is hiding in his carrier. People must be shooting off fireworks. He's very, very scared of fireworks. I need to haul this TV out to the garbage. It broke. Probably like, oh God, like 2 years ago. For as long as Tank has been in this room. I think it broke like 2 weeks to him being in here. The TV is very broken. It's just very heavy. I need to haul it out to the curb at some point, and I've just not gotten around to it. I'm afraid of carrying that. We're downstairs right now, so I'm afraid of carrying that TV up the stairs because I feel like I'm gonna lose my balance and die. So I've been putting it off. My dad was gonna help me with it, but he has bad shoulders. He actually called me today, which was nice. We got to talk for a little bit for Father's Day. He thanked me. He thanked me. He thanked me. Here you go, baby. for the cards, and he wanted to let me know that he dislocated his other shoulder. Or no, he didn't dislocate it. He tore his other rotator cuff. So he had surgery on his left shoulder, I think, years ago when he tore everything. And then now he did the same thing in his right shoulder doing yard work. So he was letting me know that he is injured, and I think he's like hemming and hawing in his head. He claimed that he does not want to do anything about it because he can still kind of move it. It's not fully torn. Um, but he wants to monitor it. And I think he was half asking, like, if he went in for surgery again, if I would be able to help him. So I made sure to reassure him that I can do that. I'm glad that we talked today, too. I miss talking to him. It was hard not to, like, word salad vomit out everything that, love you, Tank, has transpired in life and, like, catch up in that way. But I'm glad that he reached out. I love you, babies. I love you. His shoulder is really hurting. So I told him next time he has to do anything. Because then he told me that he pulled weeds yesterday. It's like, if you do anything laborious in the yard, he was cutting branches when he heard it. This is all tilted weird. And he ended up falling backwards and losing his balance and like falling backwards on his shoulder, kind of. I don't know. So he's hemming and hawing in his head, I think, if he wants to have it corrected. Yeah, my dad lives like 15 minutes away from me. It's an easy ride. Like, I can be there for like 20 hours out of the day. I just gotta stop by the zoo like 4 times a day. I closed. Oh, I left the shrimp downstairs. I'm like, I'm forgetting something. The shrimp. That's gonna be nasty if I leave it. Yeah, I can't see how the neighborhood kids do that work. Or me. I'm capable too.
Basement door open. Basement door closed. Downstairs bedroom door open. Downstairs bedroom door closed. Basement door open. Basement door closed.
Oops, I dropped you guys. My dad's older. I was a late in life baby. Puppies. You want a couple more shrimp? So I get that, like, he doesn't really see the value in correcting it, really. Like, in his head, this sounds so morbid, but, like, this is genuinely how he thinks. He's like, I have, like, 30 years of life left. Like, I'm over the halfway point. I can live with a bad shoulder. But at the same time, I know it's hurting him, so we'll see what he actually does about it. Tigra! Shrimp. Shrimp, shrimp, shrimp. Your poor little paw. What happened? I don't know. Keep sympathy feeding me shrimp. Alright, you can have like 2 more. Otherwise, your belly is going to get upset. 1 more for Bibby. No, put your head. Bibby, you didn't eat it. You spit it out. I guess Bibby's not a shrimp girl. 1 more. Okay. Now I have shrimp fingers. Ew. Ew. Gross. Dude has had some funny poops on and off, so I'm not going to give any to him. Phoebe is having a weird tummy because that's how she lives, so I'm not going to give any to her. Probably give some to Claudia before bed if she'll like it. I'm not going to try giving any to Gustav either because he just started eating his food, so it's good. It's very good. Neighborhood yard work is how you made your living as a young lad. That's how I made like extra cash helping my dad too. Like, I'll do this, I'll do that, do the other. Didn't mind it. Like, you're young, you can do it. But my dad's very proud. Like, he likes to do things himself. He's also very particular. He likes things done a certain way, so it was like very annoying to do things for him. But I'm prepared to shoulder that much more now than when I was a kid. I complained a lot helping when I was a kid. Hi, buddy. You gonna come out and say hey? Are they shooting off fireworks and scaring you? Those mean people. I got him and Gustav's scratch pads when I stopped at PetSmart for Gustav's food because they reached out to find out what he was eating at the rescue, or no, at his old home, and he got so excited when I was opening the bag of food. He loved it. He's eating good now. He's happy. I wonder if they are shrimp babies. I'll have to see before bedtime. Yeah, you guys are so stubborn. Men. You think you are impervious. He was kind of a tradesman. He worked at ComEd most of his life, but he started off like climbing poles and doing manual labor, and then years into being there, he got trained to do like IT work and technical things. So then he went into like the IT part of things. Dude loves the sink. He was scritching at himself. He's back to being an avocado. I don't remember if he was on stream the other night or not. Yeah, exactly. I am impervious. What do you mean? And you know what? I get it too. I get very like in my head and stubborn of like, I can do anything, I can do anything, I can do anything. Thank you for that. No free buttholes. No free butts. Dude, you are so silly. You're so silly. I feel like I have some of that man mentality. I don't like asking for help with things. But I've also learned over the past few years for reasons to like understand and respect my limits. Like, could I have cleaned the house today? Absolutely. Was it better that I just did small menial tasks and background things and just took it easy and slow? 1,000,000%. That was the proper choice. Hello. I love you. I love you. Do you love me too? He's loving his scratch pad. He's on it almost every time that I'm in here. I'm gonna do your ear meds. You can do your eye meds first. Turn dude into a pair of avocado on stream from your previous tankers experience. Aw. I thought maybe he was an avocado the other night. I get your eye drops. Or your ear drops, but let's do your eye drops first. You get your ointment. Hi. Can I see? Oh, good boy. He is so easy to do meds with. So easy. I'm gonna plop us in the kitchen for a minute. I'm gonna be sick again. Antibiotics are not happy in my body. Move. Doggos. Doggos. Scoot. 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 My children. Wild childs. Wild child. Bloop, 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 bloop. You guys are all up in my grill making hot dogs. Let's stay over there for a minute. Because someone's gonna book it through the door. Good dude. or dogs. We don't need that. Hello, Doodles. Let me grab your, what's it called? Your earmuds. Have to be in the refrigerator. You are such a good boy. You are the best boy in the world. He was so good for his ears being cleaned. He's being so good for drops, too. Yeah, he's a good boy. He's a good boy. He really is like the best cat ever. I'm selfish and I want to adopt him, but at the same time, if someone else falls in love with him the same way I do, I will be okay with that because he really just deserves the best. He is not a street cat. Like he was a street cat, but he was someone's cat at some point. He's a very, very loving big boy. He's just not a fan of being picked up. I'm trying to work on picking him up more because so far I've mostly only picked him up to take him to the vet. And that's not a good association. It's not good association indeed. Hello, Papa Bear. Papa Bear. Bloop. Bloop. He's so big. Oh, you know what? He's probably his dad's stuff extra from the fireworks tonight. He's not going to want that at all. He's not a fan of it, but he's been a little bit less complainy than he just was. Hi, buddy. You want to eat some of your food or you want to scratch your scratch pad? Scratch your scratch pad. Get it. Get it. Get it. Get it. I need to find a better spot for this in here. Because he keeps laying on it, and then I open the door, and then I startle him. You're a happy boy. You're a happy boy. Happy boy. It's on the verge of him actually liking the ear cleaning even. I think, like, in a way, he doesn't like the medicine part of it, but he likes being doted on. He's very much just a big, big baby love. Big baby love. Kind of like Voya. Voya didn't like taking medicine, but he liked being babied. And if you babied him for it, then he was a good boy for it. Hi, Papa. You roly-polied. You roly-polied. Hi. I love you, Papas. I love you. Are we becoming best friends? Have a wonderful rest of your night, Evil Woozy Bear. Thank you for taking the time to chill. Appreciate you. Get the best good rest and enjoy your week. Enjoy, enjoy. Oh, doodle. I think it's wonderful that you find parts of Boy and other cats. That way you can live forever. Honestly, like it has, I don't know if I'm like overthinking it, but it has been a really wonderful experience. I've seen parts of him in every foster that I've had so far. Like Doodle is very like lovey-dovey, but like big man on campus, kind of like Voya. And Gustav reminds me of Voya when he was still outside, like very just statuesque, like enjoying my company, but doesn't really overly want anything to do with me. Kind of looks a little bit like him in the face too. And then Claudia does uppies, and Lincoln slept with me like so lovey-dovey, like Voya used to, and it was so nice. It's really magical. Like I wonder if that trend is going to continue throughout the rest of my life. It has been so beautiful. They have similar like facial markings. He reminds me a lot of when Voya was an outside cat and he would just sit like a statue. Dude likes looking at himself. He knows he's a handsome boy. Hello, pretty. I love you. Here, let me get you your special water. By special water, it means I'm just turning on the sink. Don't put your head under it. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. He loves having his bowl filled. He's so weird. He's so silly. He's very handsome. You're gonna get scheduled for your neuter and your nip and tuck soon. Yes, you are, my baby boy. You feel all better. He's gonna look funny when he gets his eyes fixed, but he'll heal up and he'll look good. He's gonna feel even better. He is getting kind of shiny. I can see where you guys said the other night that he's looking healthier. His coat does look more shiny now. He's got the funniest little waves. I'm so curious what he's gonna look like super healthy. Look at that belly. That's a good belly. You can feel your bones a lot less now. You're a good boy. You're such a good boy. Happy spot. Into your lickies. I love when he does that. It's his special spot. The little legs going, the lickies are going. And he just loves it. And he's got the TikTok tail like Voya too. Always a good spot. We're perfect. Right there. So yeah, Ma, that's the good spot. Just the good spot. Just a good spot. I love you, handsome scrump. I love you so much. He's got the tiniest purr for such a big boy. He's so cute and sweet. He's so cute and sweet. You're just bonking over what I used to cover up the faucet while I'm not home. My golly. Oh my god, the sink. The sink. We love the sink. I think he would love to have a fountain. I just don't have a good place to plug it in here. I guess I could plug it in over here and then leave it on the counter. We'll see. That's the sink, buddy. If I turn it on, you're gonna put your head under it and soak yourself again. You don't want to do a super soaker. No free butts. No free butts. Oh, go up, camera. Thank you. No free butts. Bless you. Thank you. Oh, is it bath time now? I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you. Bless you. Bless you. Need a relaxy? You're a good boy. Alright, Papa, I'm gonna go spend some time with Gustav, okay? Be back to smooch on you before bed. I love you. You're my sweet man. You're my sweet man. I got your ear medicine on my nose. That's gross. Oh, okay. Couple more loves. Couple more loves. Dude wants to drink water like a little slug. Head into the stream shower combination. Now, him doing that with the fountain is new. He does do that with the kitchen sink, but that's to be expected because cats are dumb. But him sticking his head under the fountain is a new thing, and I feel bad for blaming Slavka, even though Slavka can shoulder the blame, but still. You are so silly. You're so silly. Oh my goodness. Boop, boop, boop. I did find the back of a cabinet though. I don't know if it's broken and if I like meant to save it, like to fix it, or if it still works. I have like a daisy fountain thing to where it like comes out of a flower into like a four-way flow at the top. So if I can get it working, I'd like to try that one with him. But I might have saved it thinking like, oh, I can fix the motor or whatever's broken. Or I just unplugged it because no one was interested in it. I don't remember. Can't help but smile when you protect the kitty's decency with that quick hand. It's, well, I mean, it's their personal space. And like, do you guys really want to see cat buttholes? No. It's for everyone's. betterment. You're in the sink. Goofy. Goofy. Goofy is protecting their decency. Oh, as soon as I pet your back, you're gonna put your butt up again. Oh my goodness. Still have it in your head that all cats are exhibitionists, just trying to show ass any chance they can. I mean, true. They communicate with their ears and tail with other cats. So it makes sense, like the logic is there, but I don't know, like I want someone to like come into my stream for the first time and the only thing they see is cat asshole and balls. Not enabling that behavior. It's nonsense. It's unnecessary conduct. And like there's weird people out there too. That's like probably about 15% of it is there's weird people out there. I don't need weird people to see things that I'm not comfortable with them seeing. Get your floof in my nose. Floofy, floofy. Clean up, everybody, everywhere. Clean up, everybody, do your share. I do like protecting their decency, but there are weird people in the world. From Barney, I think. Watched a lot of Barney as a kid. Apparently, I saw Barney live. I don't remember that. I was little. I don't remember. I don't remember if I have more Churro or Temptations really in there. I want to bring one in so I can give him a little more snacky. Holy flooful cat. Dude is very fluffy. He's shedding a lot right now. He's shedding his outdoor coat. You saw Johnny Cash live and you don't remember it? I would cry. That must have been so cool. Theoretically. Gunther chilling like a villain. Okay. Hi, Goose Goose. Been calling him Goose Goose and Father Goose. Gustav. He's laying in his carrier. That's where he's been spending most of his time now. He's depressed. I don't blame him. I'm not privy to the information of why he was relinquished, but it says in his relinquishment form that he was very, very bonded with his one person. So it really makes sense why he's acting the way that he is. Set this up here. You wanna come on and get some treats, buddy? You ate all your wet food, you ate a bunch of dry food, and you drank more water. We're on the path to success. He likes Purina Indoors Naturals. And I've seen these and like scoffed at how bougie they are. But this is his favorite wet food that he used to eat is Sheba, which is not cheap. But that's okay. He likes it. He's eating good. That's all that matters. Hi, buddy. You want to say hey? You like some churro? Churro, 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 churro. I'm sorry. He's just depressed as fuck. I feel bad. His whole life got turned upside down and his heart is broken, and I know how you feel, buddy. You lost someone that you didn't ever expect to lose, and that's rough. You're doing little slow blinks. We're working on getting comfortable together. We are. We're working on it. Slow blinks. You're so pretty. You're such a handsome boy. He's just sad. It's okay, buddy. I can see the pain in his eyes. In a stranger's home, in a strange place. feel bad. You want to try some? You like these. Oops, and I just spilled some on the floor because I'm smart. You can try. You wanted some earlier. I'll offer again in a sec. Get it white so I can clean up the front. Learned earlier if it dries on the floor, it sticks like concrete. All the big loves. They'll come around. It makes a lot more sense why he bit now, though. Like, he doesn't like any of this going on. He's not okay with it. He did not consent to it. Like, it's understandable. I don't think he'll be like that forever. He's just displaced. He's having some funky feels. You gonna try, buddy? It's okay if you're not in the mood for it. He's not in the mood for it. He had one earlier, and that's okay. He was very motivated for that one. He's very just sad right now. Just go slow with him. He's in his little safe place. I think that's the carrier he got surrendered in, because they have mostly hard carriers to lend out to fosters at the rescue. So that's his home smells. He didn't spray on the chair, but he did throw up on the chair, so I have to find a way to get that stain out, which is okay. He can do whatever he wants. That's a me issue, not a he issue. Now there's a potty pad on it in case he wants to barf on it again. It's okay. It makes sense, though. He was really nauseous when he wasn't eating. You want to sleep and I'm just interrupting you? It's okay, Papa. We did get some head pats and some ear rubs going earlier. And when I filled up his food earlier, he was trilling at me, which was nice. He was very excited. That was good. He probably like slept in bed with his mom or family or whatever, and nights are probably weird for him. Again, that's a lot of human feelings onto an animal, but cats are so sensitive and particular about their routine and their life and just in every aspect of everything. Like, if you own cats, you know if you change like one part of life, they're either acting out or playing more. Like, something is different in their head and they know it. Dogs are a lot more flexible than cats for the most part. My soul is fully, deeply on display. Possibly. Possibly. I feel for the guy. He didn't mean to bite, and he doesn't know what anything is. I can relate. Like, we both lost someone way in an abrupt and unexpected manner, and that's a lot to emotionally get through. Like, I can go to therapy. He just has to rely on treats and my voice. That's hard. All the cleaning ladies you know from growing up swear by club soda is the end all for cleaning agent for furniture. I'm gonna have to try that then, because it's colorful. It'll be an interesting experience. Oh, I read swear. What was the typo? Oh, sweat. I mean, when you're cleaning, you're sweating too. I'm just even. Little buddy. I'm excited for him to gain some weight back, though. He got a little skinny in his 3-day food strike. He did a big stretch earlier, and I was like, whoa, you are trim, my dude. He's not emaciated, but he's a little thinner. He's a little thinner than he should be. He is a little guy, though. He's maybe just a little bit bigger than Charlie. There's elbow grease. The sweat is involved for sure. Yes, it's gonna be a big scrub job for when he's more comfortable with me being in here. It's okay, little Sneasel. It's okay. Oh, curly noodle. You roly poly. Bless you. Don't have an upper respiratory infection. I'm not going to be able to medicate you. Although there is the convenient shot now, so maybe that would work for him. He either has to do a telehealth visit on Wednesday or go to the clinic Thursday for his rabies isolation quarantine to be over. Bath time. He's grooming himself again too, which is good. Not like as a comfort stress thing, but just in general, he had stopped grooming himself. Mostly has to do with the club soda scrub and then putting a damp towel over it while it dries. And the damp towel wicking away the filth as it evaporates. I need to like research exactly how to do this. I am not a cleaning wizard either. Like either it gets scrubbed by what I have or it gets thrown away, but I really like this chair. I really like it. At least it's puke and not spray though. Spray would be way worse than puke. I guess worst comes to worst, I can just dye all of the fabric somehow. The tie-dye method for when I spill on white. Maybe it'll just be a beige chair in the future. You're just sleepy? You don't want any snack? I'm gonna be annoying one more time, okay? One more annoying. You want some? It's really good. He's like, bitch, I'm trying to sleep. Okay, that's okay. I'm gonna put it on your wet food plate so it doesn't go to waste. A little steam cleaner would probably be amazing for it too. I've been wanting to get one of those, but I haven't had time to put the research into like what would be the best one. My dad used to have one of those like dust buster furniture cleaners, like the wet dry one, and I remember it working really well, but I don't trust any new things. Like they're all made shitty. For you, it's a wet dry vacuum and some cleaning chemicals. Yeah, you do the best that you can. Most furniture nowadays is like more cleanably friendly, I would think, than like older furniture too. You have to be careful with like schmancy old fabrics. I know this chair is older, I just don't know how old. It's either my great grandma's or it's my grandparents. I don't know which. I feel like my dad's saying something about like, oh, it's great grandma Ruby's chair or something. So I think it's should be my great grandma, his grandma. So I think it's a great grandma chair. You had a whiskey and a bourbon and a beer. That sounds like quite the celebration. I hope they were yummy. Welcome, Mad Topher. Sabina stream time. Na 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 na. Temptation? Hungry? May I tempt you with a temptation? Welcome, welcome. I hope the day has been kind to you. I hope you've been enjoying your weekend. Old furniture is worth keeping. The quality is so much different than modern stuff. Oh fuck yeah, it is. I broke 2 of my toes. Shit. Last weekend? Oh, it's been like over a week now. They don't hurt too bad anymore. I'm like used to it, but they're still taped because I stubbed my toes on 2 different pieces of grandma and grandpa furniture. It's just like the other one I did at like 2 o'clock in the morning and I screamed, fuck. And I'm sure the neighbors loved me for that one. I'm sure. It was very nice. I love all my old furnitures. Yeah, Mad Topher, do you want some shrimp? Because none of my cats like shrimp. Can you believe it? I'm baffled. 3 bags or so of Temptations on top of the fridge. Hey, we have the same house. Mine are divvied up between rooms though. But I think my next Amazon order it's split up into 2 subscribe and saves where we get 3 delivered and then we get 6 delivered. Because Munster used to eat so many of them. Ow. Munster used to eat so many of them. So I need to cut down the second order or just combine them into like only the 6 or something. They come in so handy. They love them so much. And they're cheaper than churro. They're a little bit more expensive now. They went up in price, but they're cheaper than churro. Eat a good baby. I feel like they upset their stomach less than churro too. Gunther's tummy definitely gets upset from them. Goose, you're just gonna chill. I love you, buddy. I feel like I'm bothering him. I want him to be happy with my voice, but I feel like I'm bothering him. If and when Gunther has any improvement, I think I'll throw a cot in here and I'll start laying with him here and there. I'm a little nervous that he'll like bite my legs if I move too fast, because I guess I'm still a kicker in my sleep. But we'll take that as it comes. Shrimp, anyway, like I was saying, shrimp is the fruit of the sea. You can barbecue it, boil it, broil it, bake it, saute it. There's a shrimp kebabs, shrimp creole, shrimp gumbo, pan fried, deep fried, stir fried, pineapple shrimp, lemon shrimp, coconut shrimp, pepper shrimp, shrimp soup, shrimp stew, shrimp salad, shrimp potatoes, shrimp burger, oh, shrimp sandwich, and that's about it. Thank you for officially pulling up that line from the movie. It's been playing through my head since I got tank shrimp. Can't believe they don't like shrimp. Like, what the? And you call yourself cats. I don't think Gustav will be into it. He's obviously very picky. Let's see if Claudia likes some and if the dogs like some. Dude and Peavy are gonna have to hold on though because they have sensitive stomachs. From Forrest Gump. Couldn't help but read this to Daft Punk Technologic. That'd be barbecue it, boil it, broil it. I don't think I can even sing it along to that, but I believe that you're hearing it in your head. I believe in you, and I believe you. Gustav, and we love you. We love you, Gustav. Goose. He doesn't even flick his ears at my voice. It makes me sad. He's not deaf, though. I did, like, tap on the thing without him looking, and he reacted to it, so he's not deaf. Because Ming was deaf, and he has blue eyes. He's a good boy. My good baby. Poor buddy. Forgot I had the gate in here, and I pulled the other gate out to put it over here, and now he has both of my gates that clip in here, which is very inconvenient. You're right, you invented all of that yourself. You are a shrimp genius. You are a shrimp expert, a shrimp spurt, if you will. I like Daft Punk. I'm just too tired to put it together in my head right now. Or verbally at the very least. I can kind of hear it in my head, but it's not coming out of my mouth properly. Hello, boys. Alright, is that all of the zoo moves to do's? Bring in Gunther's cans, and that's it, I think. Actually makes a lot of sense. You can pen them a letter right now. Do it! It's probably very loud over here. We're in, like, the corner of the fans. It's gonna be loud the rest of the night. The fans are just on. Coffee! Gunther can. gonna have to do some scooting around in here. Zeke is pimp walking again. He was spending a lot of time in the tree today. Whenever he's in the tree a lot, he pimp walks hardcore. Be the launch of their reunion tour, Fish Logic. You guys are silly. Hello, Papa. Hello, Papa. Not an even stack. It's okay. Oh, they changed the label color. It used to be darker blue, now it's lighter blue. I think it looks the same on camera, but I swear in my life it's different. Like the border color is a darker blue. That's weird. Blue paper dye must have gotten expensive. Weird. Weird. Gunther, I love you. A little heavy breather. Little buddy. He's sleepy. He's falling asleep. Or the light is too bright. I don't know. Is the light too bright? Now it's too bright for me to see your eyes. Yeah, the light was just bright. Oops. Sorry. Sorry. Get Disney to promote it. Little Daft Punk Mermaid. Fish Logic Under the Sea. I mean, modern Disney might actually go with that. It would be like a new spin-off on like Fantasia style almost. They could be very creative with it. I didn't understand Fantasia as a kid, but I really like it as an adult. There was like no storyline to it. It was just spurts of amazingness. It's just really like them touting their amazing creative visual skills. It's like more psychedelic than storyliney. It's the kids' version of Pink Floyd's The Wall, I guess. My computer's like, oh, you're back front and center. Good boy, Zeke. I'm going to make things go on. The animation is beautifully done. I just didn't understand it as a kid. Like, when Fantasia 2000 was released, I was 7. I didn't understand that. I wanted a Disney movie, not a visual trip. Excuse me. Good boy, Zekers. I thought you just went pee-pee a little bit ago. Are you pee-peeing more? I need to look at the litter box logs really quick. Hold on. I think he just peed a little bit ago. I mean, that's good that you're, like, peeing, but I don't understand. I don't understand. Good boy. You did pee earlier. It was while I was getting dressed. Gunther and Tinky. Now it's 6:22. That's kind of odd. You went like 4 hours apart. That's different. It's not usually his MO. He usually goes about once every 12 hours. Sometimes he likes to really prank me and go 28 hours without peeing, and that's fucking scary. But as long as he's not fussing with the litter box, like bopping around back and forth like a weirdo, then that's good. If he's ever fussing with it, then I know there's a problem. Go get your toy. Go get your toys. Silly boy. I wanted to watch the major highlights from today, but my brain doesn't feel like it wants to glue into YouTube. It feels like it wants to glue into games. So I think games, and then we'll do some highlights tomorrow. I think tomorrow we're going to do bikini cosplay. I'm just feeling too yucky from antibiotics today, but usually by like day 3 or 4, my body's like in the groove of it, and it's fine. Star Wars. Star Wars. A little bit of Star Wars never hurt nobody. Gotta glue how you do. That's true. Gotta go with the flow. I was just pretty sure that I wouldn't have, like, the energy or animation for it. Oh, you know what? Really quick, I want to look up. There's Scott Pilgrim Games. Why does that beep every time? But... oh, that's weird. What was I saying? Oh, there's Scott Pilgrim Games? But I think they're 2D. Like, the perspective that I don't prefer. I think there's 2 different games, though. What are they? Oh, thank you. I like this. It's actually, like, not practical to wear out. Because it, like, bunches up. It's fine for a few hours on stream. It's comfy. Scott Pilgrim EX and Scott Pilgrim versus the World, I think. Oh no, there's only one? Wikipedia, I donate to you, fucker. I lost my window. Give me my window back. Thank you. I already donate to you. Do, 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 do. Close and relaunch this. Otherwise, I'm just going to hear that over the game that I want to look at. Is the battery backup connected to the computer through USB to use the battery management software? No, it's just plugged into a power box where half of the plugs for it are just surge protector, and the other half that I now have the computer plugged into, oopsies, I didn't before, into the battery backup and surge protector. So it'll hold battery for like up to 6 hours. But it makes it beep every time I launch the game. I don't know why. That's so weird. Oh, one of the owners of Ubisoft just died in a plane crash, I think. My coworker was telling me. Claude Guillemot, I don't know, Ubisoft co-founder, dies in French plane crash. Age of 69. It's sad. Okay, then it would be on Steam or PS4. Side-scrolling beat 'em up, and yeah, I don't think that's gonna be doable. Play Mortal Kombat. More Zeki? Short bite. Short bite. We are good friends. His best friend is one of the major actors they turned over to there. That's interesting.
Scott Pilgrim is given his 8-bit hard.
Oh, it looks like it'll be fun to watch someone play, but I don't think I'd like playing this.
Your problem with Scott, though, is
Boo.
friends are all set to kick, punch, throw, pummel, and explode anyone who stands in their way.
Never know. If there's a demo, it might be
Scott
worth the
Pilgrim
try.
vs. the World harkens back
Pop it
to
up
the
on
cool
Steam and
side-scrolling
see.
video loves, such as River City Ransom and Streets of Rage, but with a few fun twists that make for one of the coolest downloadable games around. Note that I said one of the coolest.
It's just the perspective of the game makes my brain itch. Like, it kind of like gives me a migraine without giving me a migraine, if that makes sense. Like, even if I love the game like this, the layout of it is agitating. Because it could be what I like instead, and it's not. I'm very self-centered in that way. Welcome, Smoops. Hope you're having a good weekend so far. Is there any side-scroller type games you remember liking? I've only played Mario once. I didn't really like it. I have like the games for the Switch, and I'm trying to get rid of them because I'm never gonna play them. Castlevania was like tolerable as a side-scroller, but that's really all that was available for like computer games that were story-based at that time.
You and 3 friends must sit on the couch together, share the same.
Would Mortal Kombat be a side-scroller? I like that.
Rage had drop-in co-op. Get with the times, Ubisoft. Outside of this, Scott Pilgrim is a real pleasure to play. It has the
I like that stupid Cartoon Network game.
16-bit flair
that was, I think, a side-scroller.
New game smell and old school nostalgia. There are 7 levels to play.
Jesus Christ, Zeke!
From a cool 8-bit style
just dropped a bomb out of his ass.
Oftentimes, when you think it's just
welcome, Ari Anderson. Hope you're having a good night so far.
Brain-numbing zombies, paparazzi, and much more awake.
Alright, finish up in the box so I can clean that up. That smells terrible.
New twists include RPG elements like unlocking new moves as you level up your character and spending
make a little bit more coffee too. I can feel the tired settling in.
Or something along those lines. And all of this while listening to the brand spanking new soundtrack from chiptune band Anamanaguchi. The music alone is worth the price.
Castlevania is one of those classic games that a lot of games take the play style of. Oh, definitely. It was iconic for so long. It still is. I'm sure there's like a cult following of people who stream it.
Scott Pilgrim vs. the World is clearly meant to be.
I don't think I've seen anyone I follow stream it though.
Impossible when going it alone. I had to grind, replaying levels multiple times to power up in order to beat the game on solo. And there's really very little difference in the difficulty setting.
So it's hard and it's a layout I don't like. I don't think so. Give me other suggestions for what to play on a Scott Pilgrim night.
Scott Pilgrim vs. the World is really enjoyable.
I guess like
times it can be really frustrating.
Ramona's a nerd.
Has an amazing style.
Star Wars is a nerd game. Like it would still work, but
online co-op, but it doesn't.
I'd just be like a knockoff Jedi Ramona Flowers. It would be strange. Goodness golly, my son. Holy It literally. I don't feel like that really told me anything other than giving me an example of the layout of the game, which is really all I was looking for. I would assume the storyline would loosely follow the movie at the very least. Don't mind me just cleaning the sandbox. Alright, there you go, buddies. Sweep, because we participate in the litter kicking Olympics. And look on Steam real quick. Google if there's a PS4 demo. I kind of doubt it. Oh, maybe it's on Plus. Who knows? Get off the piano. I have all of my shit up there, and oh, okay. Son. Are you channeling your inner voya energy? And don't get so mad at me. You're stuck. Oh my god. You're channeling your inner voya energy, but you're not doing it right. You're okay. You got stuck in my shirt, honey. You got stuck. There's literally no space for you up there. Like, none whatsoever. I have so much clothes on the piano right now. I don't know what I was looking up. Is there a demo on the PlayStation? That's February of this year. Will the PlayStation connect? Usually I have to connect the PlayStation before OBS. It may not come through. We'll see. Oh, why are you so big? Oh my god. Oh my god. Shrinky dinky dinky donka doo. Bloop 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 bloop. I feel so bad he gets stuck in me, but it's not my fault that he doesn't let me do his nails. Think he's gonna have to have a gabapentin day like Tank, so that I'll be able to do his nails that way. Let's see. Let's take a peek. I know you don't have free space. Calm down. You're not supposed to. I just cue things. Once we jump into game, I'll change this category. That's my habituals in my head. Oh, I do need to re-put Twitch on my phone, though, so I can change that one. Offloaded the app. Offloaded. I don't think Kick is as anal about categories as they used to be either. Bottle Pilgrim. It's only add to cart. It's only add to cart. Dang. There was an attempt. It's a small game, though. It's only a little over a gig. Let's see. Oh, I'm just gonna open my window bag here. Let's do that. Oh, I don't know my game sources. No, not blur. Or to move. Okay. Miss the era of demos too. They're so nice. Twitch has plenty of anal for both. I'm sure. I'm sure. I am on both, but I'm just catting and there's, well, now there's cats in the background. Yeah, search results match your query. I don't think it would say for like the individual game. Niet. Probably also niet. Niet. That's okay. I accept it. Go to the store page. They would have a demo on it if they have one. I already closed out of it. I don't think they have a demo up for it. The only place I can imagine there actually being a demo for it would probably be on Nintendo. So we'd have to stream in my bedroom or bring the Switch into here. Blurp. There are no items available. Epidepidepidem. Splay. Schwapsh. Schwap, swoop, sweeps. Schwap, swoop, swoops. Schwarps. Schwator. Schwator, schwator, schwator. No, I'm not updating you. You don't need to be updated. I mean, you do, but like, in my opinion, you don't. In my empirical opinion. Did tell my dad I've been playing some SWTOR, and his retort to that was, yeah, when I was at work, a bunch of the guys were obsessed with that, and they kept trying to get me to play, but I don't like playing online. I was like, I am my father's daughter. We're good on multi-streaming nights. My imperial opinion, if you're feeling sithy, not sithy tonight. At least not in-game. Maybe as the human that I am, but you never know. You never know. Find Skavik's hangar. Go to Rue Canis spaceport in the Glaris Valley on Alderaan. Wherever roughly there is. No, go back to the main map. Thank you. What? Huh? Oh, hello. I was gonna just like take 2 steps and go get some coffee, but okay. That's cool too. That's cool too. I didn't get much sun today either. No natural blush nor fake blush. Hi, Zeke. You have so much energy tonight. You're all that in a bag of potato chips. You're being a silly guy. And that's okay. It was like an epic screech. Ah! Ah! Oh! 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 Credits. Med pack. Coffee. A little bit of coffee. I made coffee in the big maker today, so there's a whole, well, most of a whole pot waiting for me. Woot woot! BRB this. Gunther is about at his average respiration. Son, what are you doing? You're not even asking for attention. You're literally just fucking with shit. What are you doing? You're being a doodle. You're being a big burn-a-doodle. Where's my BRB? There. Of course, when I don't have my phone with me, Pippi is doing that weird cough again. It's goofy. Rarely ever have cold brew, but you had some today. It really does have quite a different taste, even with the same beans. I got canned coffee. I think that's cold brew. I really like it. But it's like, it's not sweetened, but it's so not bitter that it's almost sweet. But it's not sweet. It's just extremely not bitter. It's so weird. I like it, though. It was on sale at Jewel, and I figured I'd grab some extra sustenance for work. It's La Colombe brand. It is cold brew. Cold brew coffee. Black and unsweet. Medium roast. Balanced. Never bitter. It was such a different taste. It was good, though. I liked it. I'm glad I got 3 of them, because now I have 2 left over. I'm trying to play on the controller. We're awake. I'm mentally present. Definitely. Oh, Serena. I'm trained to be a controller girly player. Not a computer girly player. We need like a year of this before I'm fully trained. I'm a slow learner. Coffee snobs that you talk to about how mellow and chocolatey it tastes. I don't think it tastes chocolatey. It just doesn't taste bitter, so therefore it has like a sweetness to it. I don't feel like it tastes chocolatey though, because I'm picky about chocolate. It was a nice little, like, extra caffeine. Woohoo, though. I enjoyed that. Do you take caffeine tolerance breaks, Cyogenics? I just switch up my caffeine. Oh, that's not a shortcut way. It's read it out. Shame. Shame. You chilling now, Zeke? Yeah, now he's laying in bed. He tired himself out being a ding-dong. That's my boy. That's my son. I don't think this is coffee snob quality. Oh, I'm still BRB. Hee hee. Now I'm back. I don't think this is coffee snob quality coffee, but it was good. I enjoyed it. It was a good investment. But it was on sale, so they're probably never going to sell again. I get so paranoid. I'm like, bad luck. As soon as I like something, they stop selling it. Stop making it. They do still make the bobas at Target, though. I appreciate that. I was really afraid those were going to go bye-bye. I guess I could have taken my speeder. That's okay. We're getting our steps in. It's nice to look at a non-long, weird, flowing coat running around. Do you plan on having some cold brew? Reheated into proper coffee tomorrow? Where am I going? Reheated into proper coffee tomorrow morning before work. You're curious how different it will be hot? It's like almost desserty hot. Because I heated up the rest of mine after I got home. And it's still not chocolatey in my opinion, but just very, as it says, mellow. Or balanced, never bitter. Just very mellow. It's gonna taste like it came from Starbucks, not your kitchen. Yeah, or they knew and improve it, and that's counterproductive. Don't touch my shit. I'm picky. Oh, don't you do that. Thule patrol droid. That's not cool. Get him, Bowdar. Tell him to bow down. And there's a hired assassin. This is not in your line of work, sir. You're just a baby. You're just a little guy. Now I have to set you on fire. Come on now. Lame. I'm just a baby. It's gonna trigger everyone, really? You goofies. You goofies. Oftentimes when the wine snobs or coffee snobs get together to write about the stuff they taste, I don't really catch all that when I get around to it. I don't find those notes either. Either they have like an extremely refined palate or I'm just like an uncultured swine, which is also possible. I guess if all you have is good stuff for a long time, you start to tell the difference, but I will drink whatever, so it doesn't matter to me what the difference is. Stop throwing booms at me. Like, I get that I'm setting you on fire, but enough with the booms. Enough with that. Just Ty scrooping around, I guess. Kaboom! Funny sounds. Stop throwing booms! Oh my god! That's abrasive. It's like my eyeballs and my existence and like everything. We don't like that. We don't like that, okay? We do not subscribe to these theories. Bowdar bounced back with the heel. Good boy. Good boy. Pistol whip your ass. Oh, I'm out of Zazzies. Low health. Mother! Was not paying attention to my health. Maybe you're just a Philistine when it comes to tasting, or maybe they're just trying to make use of their English degrees to write about it. I think it's probably the latter than the former. Heal up, I guess, you silly business. Heal. 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 Okay. No, quit fucking with me. I'm just fucking with you, Grandma. Oh my god, that's so much damage. What is wrong with you? Oh, there's more over here. Okay, that makes a lot more sense now. We're getting hit from, like, multiple sides. Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ! Not in the mood to die tonight. I'm in the mood to play tonight. What are you doing out there? What do you have and what are you doing? Stop. He had a pillow in his mouth and he was booping it into the door. Ty doesn't chew things, he just takes things. And then walks around with it like, I got the thing, I got the thing, I got the thing, I got the thing. Okay, let's, like, not die again this time. I need a corner of safety. Good God. Safety corner. Little smoker's corner. Everyone all over again. Oh my god. Start from the beginning. So otherwise they're just gonna get me from behind. Find your health, Serena. You absolute goobers. 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 Gooby goobs. Goobers. Gooby goobs. Right back at you. You're gonna come in from that. Thank you, Baudar. Good boy. Head pats. Got some cookies for you back at the ship. Oh, it's part of the objective. To defeat 11 out of 15 of them. It makes sense why they want to be challenging then. Forkin' Lieutenant. No boomers. No booms. No! Stop! Stop! I'm gonna die again. Baudar, heal me. Heal me! How can you hit me from that far away? You insane little fucker. Can I, like, take cover, or is it gonna shoot through that? Oh my god. Get out of here. We're done with you. Stop it. Stop it! Stop it! Stop. Jesus. Lord, have mercy. Heal. If I look away, I'm gonna die again. I'm sorry. I'm not meaning to ignore us. You guys, I'm trying to get like more of my stamina or shield or whatever is the bottom bar back up. Slow and steady wins the race, right? Oh my god, fuck you. I want to play Star Wars, she said. I'm not in the mood for watching Counter-Strike, she said. Now, here she is. No red circle zone. No red circle zone allowed. Stop killing me. Stop killing me. Stop it. I'm gonna die again! God damn it! Ah, fuck you! Fuck you and your fucking fuck. Oh my god, I'm dead again. Kind of. Maybe. I don't know. Probably. Insufficient energy cells. This is what... That's my name tonight. Insufficient. Bro! Why is this so challenging? Is this like actually hard or am I just like brutally exhausted? I don't know the difference anymore. See, that's why I tell you guys not to fall asleep like to my stream or anything of the sort because like I'm all calm and cool and collected until it's something random in game and then I'm screaming! Hey, thank you for the follow. Welcome to the club. Welcome to the cult. It is whatever you want it to be, baby. Is it choose your own adventure? Thank you so much for taking the time to be here tonight. Caught you off guard. Sorry. Whoops. Whoops. Am I out of my league? They're 3 levels higher than me. Boo. When I revive, they're all gonna respawn again too. Maybe. We could go back to, for better or for worse, return to Nick Delarue. That was one of the first quests that we had, and then circle back to this one. You see if everyone respawns, or if it's still just those guys. If it was just those guys, we can probably get through it. Alright, here's to maybe. Safety corner. Corner of safety. Safety corner. They're not responding. Powder is not as good of a healer as our other guy too. And gun rounds only? And like one at a time we'll get close and then maybe we can just get through it that way. I'm using my Doom strategy. Draw them in. Double fingering 1 in 6 attacks. Just keep hitting every button possible. So far it's working. That one did a number on him. Oh, you resisted, you little shit. Okay. We leveled up somehow with something. There's 2 more guys, though. Some bracers. Sure. I am double fingering. Using both hands on the numpad. See, now I'm gonna back up and they're gonna chase me, and I think Baudar is gonna end up getting in trouble. And that's not good. Well, they shouldn't all approach me at once. That's not a part of my theory. Cannot see target. Well, look then. Stinky. Baudar is up there getting into the heat of battle for me. You have your shield, I have mine, sir. Skirp. Skirp and scoot. Skirp and scoot. 6 and 1 and 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 6 and 1. My health is going down faster than his. That did a number on the other guy. Come on, survive. Survive. Come on, baby, you can do it. You can do it. You can do it. Please let that be everybody. Just let everybody. Do we do it? I think we can get through the door now. It shouldn't perturb anyone else. Oh, there was a boomy thing I could have boomed. That would have been helpful. That's okay. We did it! It was above my pay grade, but we did it. Boom. Boom. There's a battle between your Sith character and your Jedi character. Who would win? I think strictly just by leveling the Sith character. She's higher up than this Chicky Lala. Are y'all gonna be above my pay grade too? I'm scared. I'm hitting every button in every battle now. Every button. Every button everywhere. Not taking me down again. Didn't die for this, I live for this. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Woot! We did it, we did it, we did it, we did it. Speak with Von Dado on Father's Day. That's interesting.
Where's Skavik? I'd like a check.
He spiked his drink. It's a classic
One of
Skavik.
the galaxy's great colonists.
Humans are also adorable looking. I can never tell the good ones from the bad. Aw, poor guy. Then hurry. Good choice. I didn't do anything to free you at all. I literally just told you, like, you can get out of here. And I'm not even in charge of you. So, like, I didn't do anything. Answer your personal... Oh, I'll come. Woot, woot, woot.
From the stars, we're desperate. We're the only one that can turn to.
That's so. She got some yitties. Hey, girl, hey. That's so funny. When I move, the chair behind me disappears. But it's like deceptive of the chair that I'm sitting in. That makes me laugh. Do I know you?
Who you are first. Sidonia and
Yeah,
Mel
who
Terran.
are
You
you?
received a clear transmission.
Oh, I guess we do know her. Okay, oops.
There's a
Yeah.
lot of static on this end.
Hee hee.
I'll boost our
Hee
signal.
hee
I
hee
know
hee
you
hee.
haven't left over.
Well, I was admiring her outfit at first because it's like Greek goddessy, but then I was like, dang, there's some yiddies there. Yeah, I'm keeping her all to myself. You guys can't see. She's mine. Sorry. I thought you were safe. I don't know. I don't know. Now you guys are going to think he's having a big dick and I'm censoring it. No. No. Well, I don't know. I've never seen it, but it's not just wanging out. Our champion. The champion. We are the champions, my friends. Do, 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 do. We'll keep on fighting till the end. Do, 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 do. We are the champions. We are the champions. No time for losers. 'Cause we are the champions of the world. I was having silly fun with that. Pardon the sounds coming out of my mind. Bogarting the Yiddies? Possibly. I share so much with you out, Club Cult. I have to keep some things for myself, okay? And stop, like, craning myself to the side, though. The duel! We're gonna play some Yu-Gi-Oh! It's time to duel! Confront Zin Balis. Head to the Tehran suite on the second level of the Organa Castle. On the Apollo's coast on Alderaan. You can't mount here. I will mount wherever I want. I am a free woman. Thank you very much. This has gone from very, like, G to at least R real fast. Let me mount. Thank you. Never read 50 Shades of Grey or saw the movie or anything that's like a continuation from it or whatever, but I feel like that's very a line from something of such. Oh wait, do I need to go that way? I can't go through rocks. I'll go around them though. I think that's the move. Welcome, Kimchi. Aw, I like this game too. I played it a little bit years ago and gave up on it. And I'm so glad we opened it again for Star Wars Day this year. Been consistent on it since. I'm invested. Like simultaneously leveling 2 different players. My Jedi is for multi-stream nights and my Sith is for kick nights. Though I don't think any of my characters are Jedi Knights. Ironically. Whee! Whee! Oh, I can't go through that. Okay, where is the Traveler? It's medical, so it should be closed. Probably this other platform. Yes. So lazy of me. Pulling up in one ship to get into another ship. Oh, where are we going? Duel. Both. Shit.
Have a safe and pleasant stay.
No, I didn't press anything. Goofy. Tehran suite on the second level of the Organic Castle with the Apollos Coast. Tehran suite or Apollos Coast?
Info pads are currently open for business.
I don't know which one. Ow. Ow. Owie. I don't know, let's just go to the first one first. Ow. Fuck. It hurts. Oh, we're on my favorite flying creature too. My butt is like not fully in this saddle. I'm like hovering. It's gotta be a very awkward ride. Like quoting Yu-Gi-Oh! For stuff like, you activated my trap card, or Yugi, my boy. You've seen practically none of the anime. I mean, fuck, Jesus. It's repetitive in the sense of like the storyline carries, but each episode is like the same, and you just get into a situation, then get into a battle, and then win or lose the battle, and then it's the next episode. But it's a good watch. I've seen it in full probably like on my own at least 2 or 3 times, and including my nephew watching it at least like probably 8 or 10 times. He got super obsessed with it. I crocheted him a whole Yu-Gi-Oh blanket.
Currently open for business.
House Organa Taxi. That sounds more right.
Have a safe and pleasant stay.
Okay. There we go. I don't know what is happening inside of me. Don't know what's happening inside of me. You're a big nerd. Star Wars is your life, so here you are. Tried being Imperial. Felt bad being on the dark side. I feel guilty making the Sith choices too, but then I remind myself it's just a game. It's not real life. It's like before a movie or something of the sort. Like this does not reflect the actor's opinions or feelings or stances. Does not reflect my feelings or instances or stances. It did turn out really cute. I crocheted the Yu-Gi-Oh logo, like how the words are done for the show title. And that was in the middle. And it was a white square with black and red and gold border repeating. And then I had in the white portion of like the main middle square, I embroidered in all of the different, I'm really good at describing things. All of the different like Egyptian Yu-Gi-Oh symbols. I'm sure there's a graphic of them all because I remember looking for a graphic of them all of these. Which was very challenging. Like, these were simple. These were difficult. Because it has to be just right. I'm using like 2 different shades of gold-ish to make the different shapes inside stand out. And it was a lot of work put into that. He got that for Christmas, and then my niece that year I made a mermaid tail blanket for. And that was what she got for Christmas. And then the next year, she got a TV-themed one, and I made my nephew the Death Star the next year. The TV one, or not TV, the game one, or like media-related one that my niece got was Undertale. So it had the Undertale logo, and then it had like Sans, and I can't remember the main character's name, Frisk, I think. And all of them. She loved it. Blankets take so long to make, though. Like, it's basically like starting the next one the day after Christmas. So that it'll be ready by next Christmas. Blankets are a labor of love. My patchy blanket took me like 5 years to finish without even working on it consistently. Just pieces here and there. That's the one in Tank's room. We finished it on stream. It turned out nice. It said 2nd level, so like I would assume up here. That's not a side door, but like, is it? Looks right. It looks correct. Maybe you just have a guilty conscience, Kimchi. I had a terrible guilty conscience as a kid. I'll co-sign on that, though. GTA isn't really my jam. A lot of actors like playing the antagonist because it does the devil has the best lines. It has to be fun to like step out of your shell in that way. I don't like making the super Sithy choices because it means I'm killing someone and then I kind of feel bad, but again, it's just a game. But I kind of like back-talking and like annoying questioning and like just irritating everyone. As a Sith. It's fun. It's fulfilling to the soul. This way's faster. I guess that makes sense. No speeders indoors. Oh, excuse me. Your girl does not eat enough. I am so surprised though. My body really does do better at waking up early. It used to be like the bane of my existence. And now it's like my mental happy place. It's so weird.
About to start without you. If you think the
I was not
prospect of
expecting
killing a
that.
woman bothers me,
Like, it still sucks, but like, it's
she
no
is,
worse
after
than
all, not
how I feel about waking up in general. I never want to wake up. But it's easier to wake up
Silence
earlier
your
than,
vile pet, or I'll
like,
have
what
it
would be my
sent to
normal
the
time.
zoo.
It's weird. He's not my pet, you scum!
There's my friend. The only thing that belongs in a zoo here
His
is
friend. Yeah, you filthy fucking
I imagine
animal.
someone like you has difficulty finding friends of your own species.
Oh, that's too close to
The
home.
vermin invaded my family's home and stole
You look
our
like someone who finds it difficult to find
Simply
friends of your own
trouble of hunting
species.
down and executing you.
Damn. He's got a camera looking at me through the screen. Sheesh. Quit while you can.
I'll last a lot longer than that. But
Excuse
you
me.
won't.
Even when you try to initiate roleplay as a villain in a game, usually settle into more aligning with your personal moral beliefs. It's hard to, like, force the villain phase. I don't think I'd know or be able to pick the most Sithy choices if it wasn't shown as specifically that on screen, and then I just tell myself, well, I'm a Sith, I have no other option. And then press the button. Don't kill me. Don't kill me. Don't kill me. Bowder, get him. Get him, Bowder. No, don't kill me. Don't kill me, you stupid fuck. I don't want to die. No, I don't want to die again tonight. I'm not in the mood to die. Too tired to die. Can't do that. It's fun to relax and play. And I am dead. I'm dead IRL. Can I just live in game, please? 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 I'm gonna give someone a fucking seizure with that. I so wonder what Ty did to his paw. It's so chunky. I feel so bad. It's poor little paw. Little stinker. Hmm. I'm gonna fall asleep and the 60 seconds is gonna keep taking. Someone let me know when I'm back. I don't know how, but figure it out. Oh, I'm like leaning on my elbow though. 45 more seconds of rest. I feel like it's taking even longer with my eyes closed. That was only 15 seconds? Sheesh. Speaking of 15 seconds, what is your respiration, Gunther? It's a little better. Should be 52, 13. Yes. Ow. He's not been hiding in the litter box since Friday, which is nice. That makes me think that he's a little bit more comfortable. But every once in a while, he's like missing a breath and then taking a heaving breath. And I'm not sure what that means. Telepathy. Wake up, Serena. It's time to slay. I'm exhausted today. I haven't really been sleeping like consistently more than 4 hours, even though I've been trying for 6. And today was just a very like tired, beat day. I lifted a lot of dogs yesterday, so I'm like physically exhausted as well. The golden retriever I had first thing in the morning was like dead weighting itself. Like dogs are either like they'll, I don't know, not like jump into your arms, but kind of like compensate with their size a little bit to some extent. And the golden retriever I had was just pure dead weight every time I needed to pick her up for anything. It's like, oh my god. Don't just like help me out a little bit here. The Bernedoodle was like the same size, but he went along with it. He was like, yeah, we're up. We got this. We're doing it. One in 6 theory again. Not close enough for that to be making a difference. If it worked before, it'll work again, right? And the closer I am to Baudar, the more he's going to heal me, I think. So that's good. Do it. Do it. Do it. No, no, stay alive. Stay alive. Stay alive. It actually hasn't been like as abrupt as I thought switching out of biphasic sleep. But realistically, like I spent what again? Yeah, I almost had him. It's not fun to die. I just wanted to relax and game tonight, like little battles. This is not the path I wish to be on. It was really like irritating to switch between sleep schedules. I don't know, like the first week that I was in it. But I got used to it fast. But I mean, realistically, I've only been biphasically sleeping for about the past 3 years. Maybe like 2.5 years. And my body is really good at shedding habits. No matter how long I've been doing them, like it's, if there was a way that I did it longer before, the habit gets kicked so quickly. It's terrible. It's actually one thing I find very annoying about myself is if I miss like 2 days of doing something consistently, even if I'm doing it for 6 months, a year, 2 years, I'm immediately back to my old way of doing things. It takes me a long time to truly get into the habit of something. Side menu that upsets Twitch chat so much increases the chance to take fatal damage in game by 2.33 repeating, of course. It better. I need that. Alright, you, sir, are going to get gotted. It's just how this is going to work, okay? Thank you very much. Wait, I think I have like an increasing damage thing. If I die again, I can use that. Like like a boost or something of the sort. I don't know. If I run away, is that better? No. Kind of. Safety corner. Sort of. Sorry about our... Oh, don't bring him over here. Come on now. Stinky stinger. He's got to heal up a little though, but like not anywhere near enough. Bro. God, good riddance to bad rubbish. Get a new helm. The helm. Oh, we got a new jacket too. There's this helm you speak of. Ooh. Talk to Sidonia Tehran. Oh, you're right there. Miss Yiddies.
You saved my brother's life.
Only that you did it.
Oh, is it a cape?
When did you learn to think like that?
I didn't even look at it. Ew. I don't like capes. School of Hard Knocks.
Right. I was hoping you could give me some pointers.
+5 to winning due to cape.
To express our gratitude.
It's nice that it's like better skilled clothing, armor. I don't know. I mean, it's clothing, but it's like armor.
What can I say? I love my work.
But it's
Let's
ugly.
hope we never have need of your services again.
I don't know. This is just my own issue with like irritating aesthetics in game. I like my outfit to be a certain way because I don't know. My dawn of gaming was Doom and dress up games. Just want to dress up my character so she's pretty. So now she looks like a mix between like C-3PO and like a Jedi. Like what? You can hop on my ship, baby.
It's probably safer. Alderaan is our home. We must save
Oh.
and restore our family's honor.
Fine, bitch.
Captain, we will always remember you as our champion. Farewell.
She's letting me down easy. We'll always remember you as our champion. I'll always remember you not hopping on my ship. So the games that manage outfits separate from stat gear. Or there are games. I need to find some that I like. I like my outfit being a certain way. It's the character is representing me in some way, and it's no longer she's no longer me right now. This is not me. This is just a stranger that I'm manipulating. She's not me. Wrong way. It is a lie. Space Rosette 10. She was just pretty. I wanted her to hop on my ship. Next we return to Risha. Risha is at or near our ship, I think. Do we see her? I'll probably get some Z's. My eyes are getting really tired. Whee! Gonna fly like an eagle. Or as close to an eagle as a speeder gets. It looks so stupid when you're on the speeder with the cape too. Like, oh, just looks dumb. I'm being critical and I don't care. Serena cape win. Zemo is surely a superhero. I did make a cape for my Daenerys cosplay. I've just never finished it. Literally all I need to do is hem the edges and put 2 pieces of the dress together and then it's done. And I've had 0 motivation to go into it for like, what, a year? I think we played Game of Thrones around this time last year. Maybe even the year before. I don't know. I've just had 0 inspiration. I shouldn't say motivation, just 0 inspiration to finish it. Here's the travel person. I have like a winter like dressy cape too. And that looks cute. But I don't like capes in game.
Select an available
They
travel.
look ugly on her.
Have a safe and pleasant stay.
The spaceport? Not the transport. Because ship. That makes more sense. I didn't know I could ride this inside. That's cool. Get out of my way, bitches. Oh, the other way. Skirp. Skadurp-derp. Just put that chair on my tab. Skirp. Skirp, skirp. Skirp. Blurp. Blurp. That's how I feel with the cape's existence. I can like only see it with my character and it's very annoying. It's ugly. Like how I'm still on my speeder. I didn't know you could ride them indoors. I thought you couldn't based on the prompt that I got a little bit ago. But no. I don't think I'll be able to like ride it into the ship, but it's interesting. Nope, there it goes. Public Menace biking indoors. That's me. Public Menace, Serena TV. I hope Risha was in the ship. I think she was. And actually pay attention. Hopefully I didn't just leave her. I might have left her. Oh no, we're good. She's in here. Return to Risha. Excuse me.
I'm so happy to see a starship part in all my life, but I'm even happier to see you in one piece.
Skavik's a pain in my booty.
Crossing pirates deals for me, he dies. The way things are going.
That was a
he's
very
not gonna be a
exaggerated
problem
version of that dialogue choice.
You not only took care of business, but you made Skavik look like a fool.
My favorite activity.
The only woman Skavik understands are brainless times. You must be tilted this galaxy. I'm glad we're done here.
Ha ha ha.
I can't help thinking Knock Drain would have hated this.
I'm
world as
out
much
there
as I do.
tilting galaxies.
Legend is Knock was descended from royal blood.
Rootin' tootin'
They say
tilting.
That's how he got to be king of the galactic underworld before he died.
I'm more curious than snarky.
Every spacer pirate and gangster from Avogado Ray to Yavin is a theory. Some say he was
Avogado
shot
ye
in
to
half by
Yavin. Say that 5
the
times
Russian
fast.
Dunock will tell you that's ridiculous. Others say he was killed by his most trusted lieutenant. A few say he died in his sleep.
Which is your theory?
Anything happened to him?
Hmm.
I
Excuse me.
think the galaxy is full of people with too much time on their hands.
Grand Theft
That's
Wookie.
right, everyone. It won't take long to wire the Arcadian hyperdrive to the ship's engines, and the anti-radiation shield will be a snap to build.
I think Bowder might grab an extra handful of snacks here and there.
Is there
Why
some
do I
reason
need a
need
new
an
shield?
anti-radiation shield? You can never
It's
have
probably
chance
going to
to
be
touch it.
radiation.
Didn't they teach you that in freighter captain school? I'll have those upgrades online in wait.
I went to the
hang
school
on.
of hard knocks, ma'am.
This ought to be good. Hello, Skavik. How's tricks?
Just fantasizing
Him
about
again.
joining your friends.
Him again. I read it as grand. Well, it could be a graduating thieving Wookiee. It is graduation season. Get some good eeps tonight. Thank you for chilling. I appreciate you. I hope the rest of your week starts off marvelously and wonderfully. Get the best goodsies. I don't think we need to hear it, Skavik.
That's all right. I'll be back in the mountains soon enough.
Haven't you
Meow, meow,
realized
meow, meow, meow.
cheaters never win? We're leaving Elder on all the prizes, and you're, well, stuck being you.
Have fun. while it
Dang,
lasts.
roasted.
Dinner arrives coming soon.
Whoop, whoop.
You know that
Boom,
old
boom.
saying, it never rains but it pours. Today it's pouring hollow calls. I'm getting one from Tatooine of all places. Sure. Haven't seen you in forever. I'd love to catch up, but this isn't the best time.
Someone took our dealer. Said I'll get her back to pieces if you don't come. Jesus, you have to help me.
Is that a friend of yours? I've known him and his
Got
wife
what
since they
now?
were kids. Sure. I won't let anything happen to you or Adela. Calm down and start over.
When I came back from work, Ardila was gone. There was a man waiting for me. He said unless you wanted responsible for Ardila's death, you'll meet him at an old Zerga mining complex in the Chini Rift. I don't understand this. Why is this happening?
It's a trap, obviously. But my odds of surviving and getting Ardila back alive are a lot better if you help me spring it.
Don't
Plan.
need more than that.
Stay on this hollow
I don't know.
frequency. Let me get in touch with some contacts. We have to play this smart.
Dun 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 dun.
All right. I dug up everything I could about the Chini Rift and that Zerga mining complex.
I'm not gonna remember any of this dialogue.
Back alive.
My odds are better.
But I'll definitely
Hee
come out
hee.
mine.
Hee hee.
Glad to know you've got my back. Chini Rift has more holes in it than a chunk of this cheese. The Zerga mining complex sits over a network of caverns. Zerga sealed the complex's mine shaft when they left, but didn't bother with the ore
Excuse me.
process.
Jesus.
You can use that to get inside.
And then what? That man will kill Ardila if you try anything.
I'll keep this mysterious kidnapper distracted by surrendering to him, while my friend sneaks up behind.
I don't like this. Using women for bait. What kind of man allows that?
You're not in charge here.
Can you get over your issues with women?
I don't have issues. I was raised to look after a woman, no matter how tough you are. I mean, they are. I was speaking generally. What can I do to help?
Ooh, I think he
I'm
has
not
a
explaining to Ardila how I
crush.
got you killed. Just wait outside and be ready to give her a kiss. I marked a route through the caverns to your shoot, Captain. I'll give you a head start to get in position.
It's like a jinx that we won't save her. Come on now. She didn't have to wait till tomorrow, though. I'm tired. A new blaster rifle. Decent. What's this? Okay. Still can't use that yet. Oh, I don't have big diplomacy yet. Corso rigs customization. Where's Corso rigs? It's funny. So we're traveling to Tatooine next time. And save Risha's friend. Is he on Tatooine? The old galactic market. I don't remember where that was. That's okay. It is tired time. The brain cells have left the building. Dun 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 dun. Oh, I forgot to collect the reward. Now we can get it next time, but gotta check all the boxes. There we go. Derp, derp, derp. I'll be right back. I'm gonna be sick again. Eye roll. Oop. Slid my chair into the whatchamawatchet desk. Almost knocked things over. Alright, Club Gold, it is tired time. Thank you all for a wonderful night. Appreciate you, Bebs, making time for me on this, the most sacred of Sundays. Thank you all for your time. Thank you for your chats. Thank you for your support. And thank you for your company and being your wonderful selves. More than anything, thank you for your time. Your time is very valuable. Whether it's for 2 seconds, 2 minutes, 2 hours, if I don't see you again for 2 years, our times collide. It's beautiful, magical, and amazing. Thank you all for being here tonight and hanging out with the zoo and playing some games. I'm very grateful, girly. A very, very, very grateful, girly. Oh, I guess because that's the taskbar space. It doesn't want to move more. Thank you for being here for the stream, the Mad Topher. I shall disperse all of the smooches to the zoo. I can't hear because the fans are so loud in here, but there must be fireworks going off still because dude was back in his little carrier. Poor guy. For such a big, strong man, he's such a big baby. Little big baby. If you bubs want to keep up with me offline, hop into the Disky Boo. Otherwise, we got the fun stuff. The socials. Some more fun stuff. The schedule that is currently empty because we go as we go, but I've been updating Discord when I shall be present. Thank you all for being a part of the Stream the Dreams project. Come on, mouse. There you go. Mouse. And thank you all for your support with Mr. Voya Bean. Oh, so mucho. I'm very grateful, girly, and I appreciate it immensely and intensely. Do me one favor until I see you, Bebs, next, and that is remember that you are wonderful, amazing, spectacular, kind, phenomenal, oh so gorgeous, and all the good things in the world. Take those compliments and put them in your back pocket, your side pocket, your cute little hoodie pocket, your adorable little shirt pocket, floating in suspended animation, wherever it needs to go until I see you next, you sweet bubbos. Have a beautiful rest of your night and a marvelous start to your week. I shall see you all for the next one. Good night, Club Cult. Make good choices. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. Or do. I'm not in charge of you. Good night.